Welcome to the final FPL Deadline stream of the season, this time out of Gameweek 38. Time definitely flies, but there's not the end of the season technically, because we do have the Champions League to look forward to next week, and that's where the best squad for match day 17 in UCL Fantasy will come into play, and also my team selection. And if possible, I will do an early deadline stream for the Champions League, but the full focus right now is on the end of the Premier League season. I've only got one free transfer at my disposal, and in an ideal world, I would make multiple changes to my squad, and that's where the free hit could be very handy indeed. Check out my best team video if you haven't done so already, and that is a very useful guide for those using transfers, taking hits, and if you've got the wildcard or free hit chip available, you can build the best 50-man squad. But it's all about the starting 11, of course, unless something goes wrong with the lineups. And any leaks, any news will be covered on this channel. But for the time being, it seems like there's nothing, but I'll keep you posted on that one for sure. And at least I can give you my predicted lineups, which have been fairly successful this season. I think the success rate is around 88 to 89%. I'll do a full calculation after these games are done as well, and then we can see how I did. But with certain teams, I've got it almost bang on, but with others, maybe not so much. I've got a few benching dilemmas as well, like Darlow against Verbruggen. And we know what happened last week, a 9-point swing against me, so that was very frustrating. The same goes for buying Gyökeres instead of Bukayo Saka. That was another 9-point swing, but Hill, O'Reilly and Gabriel will start for me. Having said that, the Arsenal centre-back is at risk of not getting the nod here against Crystal Palace. I think Arsenal could massively rotate with only one or two key starters, maybe three at a push, getting the nod there against Crystal Palace, but that will also be talked about later on in the stream. The clean sheet odds, the top 10 captains, Bruno Fernandes against Erling Haaland. I'm still going in favour of the Norwegian, even though he's more at risk of being benched himself. Gross, Tavernier, Semenyo are currently in my setup, but I think Semenyo could be benched. That's a possibility. He's currently in my predicted lineup for Man City, but by no means is that locked in. And even with Gyökeres, we could see Gabriel Jesus start in his final game for Arsenal. I think he will leave this summer. And Calvert-Lewin away to West Ham looks decent, but the Hammers will be fighting tooth and nail to stay up in the Premier League this season. So there's a lot to lock in. I might even take multiple hits here and just have fun with it, because at this point, it doesn't really matter. And Gameweek 37 was so disappointing for me, as I covered in my team selection video. Welcome, Banjo. Good to see you. And yes, if any leaks are out and about, I'll be relaying them to you as soon as possible. Minus 12 incoming. I'm usually against that sort of thing, but I'll be honest with you, I'm more in line with that. I think it's probably more... It's closer that I take a minus 8 hit anyway, compared to me just using a free transfer, but only time will tell, and maybe the leaks and any information we get will play a big part in that. Josh 10 says, "Hey Dylan, I hope you're doing great. Congrats on Arsenal winning the title. Unfortunately, I didn't win my mini league in FPL. They watch you too, but looking forward to relegation battle today." Well, I'm not sure what the points gap is, but yeah, hopefully you can still end this season strongly, get a green arrow, and if you are in another mini league, then win those as well. But yeah, I think this is going to be the last chance saloon for everyone here, and it's all about locking in that final transfer, the captaincy decision, 50-50 call, benching dilemma, and making sure we're in a great position to just have that sort of satisfactory ending that we want when it comes to FPL. Thank you, Banjo. Like and subscribe. Gunners and City rotation. I think City will rotate less, but John Stones is one prime example of a player who hasn't started much this season, and I think he will get the nod this time round. So yeah, you could be right there. And ultimately, it is Pep Guardiola's final game in charge of Manchester City. And with Arsenal, I think it's going to be massive rotation. Even Raya isn't safe. Thanks for all you did, Dylan. Any leaks? Much appreciated. As soon as I get any, or as soon as anyone starts, getting a few, let's say, tidbits and seeing things online, then it's all going to be talked about here. Hi, Dylan. 1 free transfer, but 3 Arsenal and 2 City. Is a -4 worth it for 1 week? Yeah, I think so, because a lot of these players you're talking about, particularly from Arsenal, could be benched anyway. So it's a risk either way. Imagine if Gabriel does start and you take him out for a hit. It's going to be quite disappointing, but I'll be honest, Gabriel is actually in my lineup at the moment, but what I think could happen is that he gets 45 minutes and then Saliba gets the other 45, and they sort of rotate that way. They still want to get minutes in with some of these key players. Even Kai Havertz is another example, but yeah, I'm kind of hopeful that Gyökeres does start and we get that information before the deadline. Otherwise, I'm very inclined to sell him to Jared Bowen, even though Semenyo is another rotation risk. Erling Haaland isn't completely safe, and yeah, Gabriel, I mean, needless to say, there's no need for him to really play, to be fair. So yeah, just outside top 500k, aiming to sneak in. I can't guarantee it, but it's probably more likely today than it would have been in previous weeks for sure. And there's a lot on the line, of course, for certain clubs like Tottenham and West Ham, so maybe less information with those, but to be quite honest with you, those are two of the teams that are easiest to predict right now. I think it's a different story with Arsenal and the clubs that have already sort of sealed their objectives, Aston Villa as well. I think it's probably easy to predict them, though, compared to Arsenal, because obviously the Gunners have the Champions League final next week, and there are a few personal milestones like David Raya getting to 20 clean sheets and stuff like that that you can't fully factor in, or at least there's too many things to think about. So it's going to be an interesting one, but my inkling is that we will get some early team news. But with which clubs in particular? Well, I hope Arsenal is one of them, but I couldn't really guarantee it. Gunners double incoming. I really hope so. I'll be in Budapest next week, and it's going to be an absolute madness. But if Arsenal can do the unthinkable and win the Champions League for the first time, that would be a brilliant season. And it shows you how quickly things change in football. But yeah, now it's about celebrating the Premier League title, and then going into the week, it's all about preparing for that eagerly anticipated Champions League final, which I'll be covering on the channel. Would you sell Saka or Semenyo to Palmer or Gakpo, assuming neither start? Well, I'd rather sell Saka. He's a bit more expensive, and I still think Semenyo is a bit more likely to start anyway. And if he doesn't, I think he'll come off the bench. With Saka, there's no real need for that to happen. So I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of either Palmer or Gakpo. So it's kind of a difficult one. Probably Gakpo by default, but he's had a pretty poor season. So has Cole Palmer, to be fair. But yeah, if I had to pick, probably Saka to Cody Gakpo. So really, you could still sell Semenyo and keep Saka, because obviously Gakpo's cheaper. Having said that, I still think I'd sell Saka. Hinshelwood and Anthony for Garner and Wilson, but only have one free transfer. Is it worth getting a -4 or get one, but can choose between the two? I'd probably avoid the hit in this case, and I think Wilson will start in his final game for Fulham. Raul Jimenez is another one, although I'm less sure about that one. We could see Rodrigo Mini start instead, but yeah, I think stick with one free transfer. Probably sell Garner here, and then you could go to probably Jadon Anthony just because he's facing Wolves, but he had a great start to the season, by the way, around September, October. But yeah, I think that's probably the punt you're looking for. Buying Robertson right away if he goes to Hull next season. Oh, so maybe your YouTube name was right, even though they technically have won 2 trophies, but we won't talk about that. Yeah, Robertson at Hull is a decent shout. We'll see what happens there, but if Tottenham stay up, I think that's his most likely destination, unfortunately. Josh says, sad to see Pep and especially Salah leave. Might freestyle my transfers and buy players I've always wanted to have at some point in the season, like Jadon Anthony. Unless any essentials. I don't think there are many essentials today. It's going to be very open. Some clubs, like I said, have already secured their objectives. Others still have everything on the line, but there's going to be a lot of rotation, and it's always the most difficult to predict when it comes to starting 11s and who's going to be benched. Could this player get reduced minutes? It's always going to be a bit of a just chaos, let's put it that way. And there's also the Champions League final next week. Then you've got the World Cup, of course, in a couple of weeks' time. So there's a lot to factor in, and I'll be honest with you, yeah, there aren't many essentials. I think Anthony could be a decent punt, and with Burnley, I think my favourite one would be Fleming in the forward line. Thank you, Easy. Yeah, I remember you kept on, mentioning the bottle stuff. I mean, it is what it is, right? But yeah, we'll wait and see if Arsenal can make it an even more special season against Paris Saint-Germain, but that's going to be a tough ask. Double next week, Dylan? Hopefully. For a second, I thought you meant double game week, but yes, that's what I'm really hoping for. And that would cap off a great season and a fantastic weekend, because I'll be there, all week. So it's going to be a mad one. Yeah, the World Cup will start, I think, around the 11th of June, if not the 14th. I'll have to double check that. But it's coming by very quickly. Yeah, 11th of June. So not much time, really, to prepare for that, if you will. And the football never stops. Anyone else benching their Arsenal players? I think that's viable. Don't really blame me for that. And a lot of them could be benched anyway. With Gyökeres, I'm a bit conflicted. I think he could still start, but there's also Gabriel Jesus. One of them will lead the line for Arsenal. They might even play together, but I think Kai Havertz will be on the bench. As for Saka, I think he'll be, well, not in the starting 11. Gabriel is a bit of a closer one, but Yeah, even if he does start, I think he'll be subbed off quite early. Well, you can see the current rank on my left-hand side. Oh, no, you can't. I don't know what happened there. Okay, let me just fix that. Thanks for pointing it out. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Probably a little glitch. So let me just sort that out. Yeah, it's pretty terrible. Just inside the top 300k, and this would be my worst ever rank, which I also said last season. So I'm hoping it's not becoming a recurring theme here, but yeah, it's not ideal. So let me sort that out. Okay, and then afterwards I'll get back to your questions, whiz through them, and very soon I'll be going through the stats. That includes the top 10 captains, the clean sheet odds, expected points. You know the drill by now. Only one game week left, and it's all about locking things in and making sure we get our final transfers correct and absolutely spot on, because, yeah, it's last chance saloon here, and it's all about getting that green arrow, winning our mini leagues as well, which is probably the most important thing for many people watching, and I completely understand that. So that should now be on screen. I only got 54 points last week. I took a -4 hit. So yeah, thanks for pointing that out. I'm not sure what even happened there. But yeah, 293k. The less said, the better. If I buy both Hinchwood and Anthony, team would be Raya, Gabriel, Riley, Bruno, Rice, Semenyo, Haaland, Bowen, and Thiago. One player would need to be benched out of the 12 after 2 new transfers in. But that's what I mean. I'd rather just stick with a free transfer, because with the hit, you're also creating a benching dilemma, which, look, if you get it spot on, then it can definitely go well for you, but there is an element of risk to it. I'm still unsure if Semenyo starts, and the same goes for Ryan Gabriel, to be fair, so if we do get information before the deadline, you might be in a situation where you take a -8 or -12. So I'd probably hold off from the hit for now, and I think we'll get some information just before the deadline closes. Why are people ignoring Mbeumo? Well, I think he's been in poor form since October, you could say. He's been kind of out of it. I know he scored in the last game, but yeah, he's been quite poor in 2026, to be fair. Would you recommend buying him and captaining Bruno? I don't mind that, but Brighton, I know they've had a few shaky results, but they've still been one of the more informed teams over recent months. They've got a good record against Manchester United, and it's a difficult game to call. I've gone for 2-2, and you're going to see my scoreline prediction soon, but yeah, I think the reason why people are ignoring Mbeumo is because he's been quite poor for a while now. But yeah, to end the season, he could be a decent pick. 89%. Yes, I'm going to calculate that. Hopefully it gets to 90 somehow, but probably around 88, 89%, which isn't too bad. Should I sell Saka for Palmer? Well, Palmer will start. I don't think Saka will. So by default, it does look like it's worth it, but I think Palmer's been awful for a while now. Ignacio says, Grande Dylan, necesito de tu sabiduría. No sé de eso. Tengo 12 puntos de ventaja, pero mi oponente tiene a Bowen y Gibbs White y yo a Saka y Gyökeres. ¿Recomiendas -4, Bowen y Anderson in? Es difícil con Gyökeres porque es posible que juegue, pero también tienes a Gabriel Jesús, que para mí va a ir del Arsenal en este verano, así que si está comparando Kai Havertz con Gyökeres, creo que Gyökeres va a empezar el partido, pero con Jesús también va a ser difícil. Yo creo que vale la pena el -4 y me gusta Bowen un montonazo para esta jornada. Y bueno, vas a ver muy pronto la lista de capitanes, y también lo hablé en mi video que puse 2 días atrás, pero creo que Bowen está por ahí. Solo Bruno Fernandes y Haaland son mejores para capitanar o para poner como capitán. Hi mate, hope you're doing well. Love the videos and streams this year. Watch near enough every one. I appreciate that. 100k, Jesus, it's a long day. 110k in the world, thinking of captaining Morgan Gibbs White. He's in my top 10 captaincy list. You're going to see that very soon. I'm not against it. The only downside is he's facing a very good Bournemouth side who are unbeaten since January, so that's another tough game to call. I've gone for a draw, but I still think Bournemouth are slight favourites to win that game. No news on when the World Cup fantasy game will release. Probably in the next week or 2. I mean, it has to be done by early June, but yeah, there's a possibility it launches just before the Champions League final, but I have no information on that, to be fair. Once I do, I'll let you know on Twitter, Discord, Instagram, and also on YouTube as well. And it could also be covered on this channel. And if you want me to, then get this stream to over 100 likes. And the biggest goal that we can reach today is 39,000 subscribers. We're around 20 to 30 away. So let's be sure to reach that milestone and get to, well, a new objective completed, ticked off, And then during the summer, 40,000 will be the next objective, especially if the World Cup is covered here with videos and live streams for every single match day. Hold until leaks. I agree. I wouldn't make transfers just yet. Itum Lad says, hi Dylan, hope you're well. Got one free transfer, 0.1 in the bank. Currently have free City, free Arsenal, and free Leeds. Do you think it's likely all three of these teams will rotate? Arsenal, yes. I think Man City will start possibly Ruben Dias with John Stones, but I think the rest will still be quite similar to what we've seen throughout the course of the season. But there is the possibility of Foden over Cherki. That's something else that could happen. We might even see both of them play together with Semenyo on the bench. So I think with City, you're probably looking at 3 or 4 changes. I think Arsenal could be the entire starting 11, including Raya. With Leeds United, I still think they'll go quite strong. But that's another team that could make 2 or 3 modifications because they have nothing really to play for, and West Ham are fighting for their lives. Enzo Fernandes will be leaving Chelsea after this game week. Well, a lot of rumours throughout the season, especially in the winter period. Real Madrid was one team heavily linked. We'll see what happens there. And obviously he joined Chelsea after the World Cup year. We'll see what happens after this one, but it's a real possibility. Yo, Dylan, I'm 2 points off top in my mini league. Yeah, that's definitely surmountable, and that's where nailing on the captaincy and your final transfer is going to be crucial, and also balancing that sort of, do you take a hit or stick with free transfers? That is going to be very important. Really good rank as well. That's a very competitive mini league. Easy says maybe not make any transfer at all. I still think in many cases, making a transfer is better than making none. There are examples where you sell a player who's benched, and in the end, they end up hauling anyway. And sometimes you think a player's going to be benched, but they end up starting, and the player you bring in is benched. And something similar happened with me last time with Victor Gyökeres. But yeah, I think in many cases that won't be, I'd say, the advice, really. I have 2 transfers, have Joao Pedro and Saka. Any suggestions? Gibbs White in the midfield looks quite appealing, and Jarrod Bowen is someone I've been quite bullish on for a while. He has blanked in 3 consecutive games, but I think he'll return against Leeds United. Frank Golding says, team is Darlow, Verbruggen, Lewis Skelly, O'Reilly, Van Heck, Hill, Senesi, Fernandes, Gross, Semenyo, Saka, Somerville, Haaland, Gyökeres, Calvert-Lewin. Well, I'd captain one of Haaland or Fernandes, and I think Haaland would slightly be ahead. You're going to see that very soon. In terms of who to start, I'm quite conflicted about the goalkeepers. I think both Leeds and Brighton will concede, probably 2 goals. So I'm not really that fussed about the goalkeepers. I mean, I got the 9-point swing against me last time, but yeah, that was a bit of a freakish sort of swing. I think Darlow at the moment, but I could see myself changing that. And most people have voted for Verbruggen in the poll I put out earlier. Defensively, I would start O'Reilly. I'd go for Senesi for sure. And then probably take a punt on Lewis Skelly, who I think could start still, either at left back or midfield. But that isn't a guarantee. If you want to go safe, you probably go for 2 Bournemouth defenders there. I think Van Heck would be last in the pecking order. You definitely start Fernandes. I'd go for Gross. He has 7 goals in 12 games against Manchester United. Semenyo's a risky one, but I'd probably start him. I'd recommend selling Saka and getting a replacement for him, which could include Gibbs White, but just bear in mind that creates a conflict and clash with your Bournemouth defenders, so you might need to look in a different direction, and my top 10 captain list could help you there. Somerville is probably worth keeping here. I do like Jarrod Bowen. If we get any rumours of Gyökeres being benched, I would go from Gyökeres to Bowen and still sell Saka for a Gibbs White or a midfielder of that ilk. Even Szoboszlai is someone I've talked about quite a lot in my recent videos, so yeah, I think that's quite a lot of advice there for you. Winning 2 leagues, 2nd and 3. Yeah, quite competitive there, and the more leagues you win, the better, but it can be difficult. I'm currently drawing top of my head to head-to-head league, sorry. Both of us have the exact same record. If we both win today, how will the winner be decided? Maybe it goes down to, well, you say the exact same record. So if that's also wins and losses, because there are the odd occasions where you get a draw there, I think it comes down to, it comes down to points. So, yeah, that's the sort of goal difference, if you will. And if you have the same amount of points somehow, then God knows what they do. Is it how many games you've won against them? That's never happened to me, so I couldn't really tell you. But yeah, goal difference, aka points scored, will be the decider. TB says, hey Dylan, my team is Verbruggen, Saliba, Gabriel, Riley, Bruno, Semenyo, Dewsbury Hall, Tavernier, Haaland, Joao Pedro, Krupi, benches Darlow, Saka, Verbruggen, Strauch, 1 transfer available. Yeah, there's a lot you could do there. A lot of people are in a similar boat. It's going to be a difficult one this week, but yeah, with your goalkeepers, I get that. I think most people would agree with you. I don't think Saliba starts. I mean, Gabriel's a possibility. What we could see, like I said earlier, is one of them gets the nod, and then at halftime they're subbed off for the other, and Arsenal rotate that way. So that could go either way. I'd definitely start O'Reilly. The midfield and forward line looks decent. Krupi's been in great form, to be fair. He's one of these standout young players of the season. Yeah, interesting decisions to make. You did put Verbruggen there twice, by the way. I'm guessing you meant Van Heck. I'd probably recommend selling Saka and then starting him over Tavernier, potentially. Or even Dewsbury Hall. That'd be my recommendation. So one of Szoboszlai, Gibbs White, all these midfielders I've talked about. Bruno Guimaraes is very underrated. He actually got a decent return against Fulham last time out, and yeah, he's a very consistent FPL asset. So I think one of those three could work. I know some people have mentioned Palmer, but yeah, he's burned me too many times this season. Bernardo or Barnes? Yeah, I think Stones will start. With the other question, it's difficult, but probably Barnes. Arsenal win double and Spurs get relegated, or the script that never was written again. Well, I mean, that'd be an incredible end to the season, but I think Spurs will stay up, and the Champions League final will be very tough, but I think it'll be competitive, and I really hope it is. Not like last year, where Inter Milan were absolutely schooled. I'm thinking to do Joao Pedro to Bowen or Saliba to Porro. Really not certain about my backline. Neither am I. As I'm talking about myself, by the way. I think there is a chance that all my starting defenders could be benched. Saka on my bench too. What would you do? Yeah, Saliba I don't think will start. Joao Pedro to Bowen looks really good. I'd make that transfer. I still have Joao Pedro in my starting 11 though, so if you're just focused on getting rid of rotation risks, there is a case to just keep Joao Pedro, and every predicted lineup I've seen for Chelsea includes him in those lineups. So it's a difficult one, but I still think it's worth going to Bowen and even taking a hit and reinforcing your defensive line here. I'm not a massive fan of Borro though, and that's the problem with defenders. If you're going to see my scoreline predictions soon, there's no clean sheet. Arsenal would have been one of them, but with the title sealed, it's a different story now, and they're going to rotate heavily. So yeah, I think even if there is a clean sheet, it's very difficult to predict which team is going to keep one now. And that's reflected in the clean sheet odds too. But yeah, I get why you're saying Borro. He's in my FPL challenge team, but I don't think Spurs will keep a clean sheet. Hit for Trossard to Szoboszlai. Yeah, I don't think Trossard starts. It should be Martinelli on the left. Would I take a hit? Probably, yeah. Afternoon, Dylan. Do you think I should be playing Everton players Keane and Dewsbury Hall? They're on my bench right now. Not keen. With Dewsbury Hall, there is definitely an argument, but it depends who you start him over. Yeah, good luck, Banjo. Yeah, that was my objective, but the last couple of weeks have been a nightmare FPL-wise. Thank you, Safir. As he says, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. We are getting very close now to 39,000 subscribers, and it's all thanks to your support. Hey, Dylan, Gameweek 37 transfers ruined the mini-league, but let's end on a high. Yeah, there was a massive swing there. Big disappointment. And I had a feeling it could be a massive swing either way. But if Gyökeres started, I'm very confident he would have hauled. But it is what it is. If Arsenal win the Champions League, the club should build a statue of Arteta. I mean, probably not. Yeah, I know that sounds crazy, but I wouldn't do it right now. Probably in years to come. I mean, with Wenger, it took them a while to do that. And he is Arsenal's greatest ever manager. And he still would be, in my opinion, if Arteta won the Champions League. But yeah, that would certainly be unbelievable. Not sure what the protocol is in case of a postponement in the last match day, but would be extra funny to wake up to a Gameweek 39 pick team. Yeah, it's never happened before, but I don't want to jinx it. It shouldn't happen this week, and it shouldn't happen ever. Salah in challenge team. I have made a switch from Szoboszlai to Salah in FPL challenge. I'm more convinced that he will start, but those comments he made a few days ago worried me a little bit, and there's no guarantee that he starts. I think he will. Could he be subbed off early? I think he's going to anyway to get a standing ovation from the Liverpool fans. And yeah, it's kind of mad. But every time I've gone for Salah this season, he's burned me on both my free hits, which is a shame. I'm not a massive fan of Somerville, but against Leeds, I think he's a decent pick. And, well, I used to play for them. But I think Bowen is my favourite West Ham asset by some distance, to be fair. Anybody remember FPL Draft? Yeah, some people do remember it, but I've never played it. A few of my friends have recommended it. But maybe next season I'll give it a try. Sam says, defending my mini league, 42 plus 51 points, bench boost ahead. Dubravka, Raya, O'Reilly, Gabriel, Hill, Strout, Casemiro, Bruno, Semenyo, Scott, Rogers, Welbeck, Haaland, Pedro. Yeah, Casemiro will not play, so I'd take him out for Szoboszlai. There's also Bruno Guimaraes and a few other midfielders I've discussed, so any of them would be viable. Gibbs White, if you have enough money. Who would you start? I'd bench Rogers. I don't think he'll start anyway. I'd probably bench João Pedro here at the moment. Oh, yeah, Scott. Scott has to go on the bench. Scott and Rogers. And defensively, I'd bench Strauch. I'd go for O'Reilly, Gabriel, and Hill, but if I'm being honest with you, with Raya and Gabriel, I'm not sure if either start. That's going to be up in the air. Captain Bowen or Bruno? I still prefer Bruno, but Bowen is certainly the more differential captain. It's just he's not as reliable as a Bruno Fernandes. Thanks, Dylan. I'll probably go for Fleming. Can't wait for the World Cup. I've been counting down for ages. Yeah, I'm usually like really excited for the World Cups, and yeah, I'm still looking forward to this one. But with Argentina being the reigning champions, I do enjoy that. Now it's going to be a lot of stress again, just when I'm relaxing a little bit. Next week is going to be a madness as well with the Champions League final, but I get that. The World Cup is always a lot of fun. Speaking of fun, Man City Finish says, we'll have some fun by selling Rice for a fun -4 hit. Yeah, Declan Rice certainly is not going to start. I'd be shocked if that was the case. Thank you, James Klein. Hello, Dylan. Thanks for the content this season. Much appreciated and all the best for Gameweek 38. God knows I need it. Is Osler a good shout? He's a decent shout, but I talked about skipping him in my recent transfer tips. I don't think he'll return against Fulham. That's one of my predictions for Gameweek 38. Let's see how that ages, but I prefer Fleming when it comes to budget forwards this week, and he's had a good season, 10 goals in a relegation side, facing Wolves at home next. I'd be quite encouraged by that pick. Van der Ven or Mukiele? Probably Van der Ven, but I think both of them will blank. Lawrence says, Raya, Dubravka, Chow, Van Heck, Gabriel, O'Reilly, Hill, Cherky, Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Guimaraes, Dewsbury Hall, Gross, Haaland, Welbeck, Gyökeres, one free transfer, any advice? Gyökeres to Bowen looks quite appealing. I would also, to be honest, I think out of your attackers, selling Gyökeres is probably the one, and I'd go to Bowen. Defensively, there is a case to sell Gabriel, but there aren't many standout defenders. So at the moment, I'd probably go Gyökeres to Jared Bowen. And there is a chance that Gabriel Jesus starts in his final game for Arsenal with Gyökeres on the bench. Thank you, Wei Seng. Yeah, now Manchester United are the big six club that haven't won it in the longest time. Well, technically Tottenham, but let's not speak about that. Awful season. Couldn't escape 2 million until now. Yeah, I haven't liked this season too much from an FPL perspective. There were signs of hope in like November, December. I had a very good period around then. I kept getting green arrows. I went for Foden and Bruno Fernandes early, but yeah, after that, it was a bit of a shit show, to be fair. But all we can do now is end the season as strongly as possible and get a green arrow and enjoy it, because otherwise it's not really worth playing in the first place. Bench Saka or take a hit? I take a hit. Now, it does depend on who you're starting over Bukayo Saka, but if you're not that happy, let's say it's Tavernier or a player you're not that confident about, I'd probably take the hit. Especially for a Gibbs White, Szoboszlai, and those players discussed in my camps list, the team selection video, the best team squad, you know the drill, of course, but yeah, I think it's probably worth taking a hit there. Next season, we'll buy players from Coventry, Ipswich, and Hull for cheap and save money, especially if we want to buy expensive players. It depends on the pricing. That's going to be very important. I'll do a preliminary draft in July, just before the game releases, but it should release a little bit later because it's a World Cup year. And obviously, we didn't experience that in 2022 because that was a Winter World Cup in Qatar. But yeah, it should start a little bit later. For transfers, should I wait until leaks or do Van Heck to Borro and Dubravka to Darlow now or wait? Well, there is a chance Dubravka starts. It's his final game for Burnley. And he has a better chance of a clean sheet than Darlow. So I'm not sure if I'd make that move, actually. But yeah, having 4 transfers now is a big blessing. I mean, sometimes you can just waste the transfers, get a bit giddy, you know, and make unnecessary changes, which I think the goalkeeper move could be, although I understand your reasoning for it. But yeah, that's a very strong position to be in. I think Van Heck to Porro is ultimately an upgrade, but I don't think the Spaniard will keep a clean sheet. Do you like Mavropanos? for the final gimmick of the season, he probably forms part of the best defense. I don't like him that much, but in terms of clean sheet odds, West Ham are near the top for a reason against Leeds United. So he's all right, but if I'm being honest again, I don't think West Ham keep a clean sheet. So you're looking at DEFCON and maybe a goal, which Mavropanos certainly can do. Realised I didn't put my team. Darlow, O'Reilly, Saliba, Gabriel, Anderson, Bruno Fernandes, Belieber, Cherky, DCL, Haaland, Captain, Gyökeres with Verbruggen, Dewsbury Hall, Hill and Keane on the bench, 1 free transfer. Yeah, I don't think Saliba starts, so I'd start Hill over Saliba. I'd probably start Dewsbury Hall over Belieber, but what I'd consider here is maybe a midfield transfer. So depending on your funds, something like Belieber to Szoboszlai, Bruno Guimaraes or Gibbs White would be very appealing to me. Even though you would have a clash, obviously, with Hill if you go for Gibbs White, and you've got Anderson in there, who, to be fair, can still give you DEFCON regardless, but I would sell Belieber if possible. Otherwise, Gyökeres to Bowen is pretty decent, but in terms of your midfielders, I definitely start Dewsbury Hall over Belieber. Unfortunately, can't catch up a 50-point difference in my mini league for first. Yeah, that's almost an insurmountable lead with 1 game remaining, unless he does a massive mess up and he takes multiple hits or something. Yeah, it's going to be a crazy one, but yeah, all you can do is end the season as strongly as possible. Make your transfers. Don't, think too much about your mini league position here. Just do what you think is best in terms of getting points, and ultimately you'll feel much better with a green arrow, even if you don't achieve your objective of winning that mini league there. But yeah, it's a similar story for me and my rank. I'm very disappointed with the last couple of weeks, and yeah, there was some calls there, some mistakes on my part, and also a few misfortunes, I'd say. But it is what it is. It's part and parcel of FPL. Hi, Dylan. So Cherky or Saka? I think Cherky will start with Saka. I just don't think that's going to be the case. So sell Saka. He's also more expensive, and I've mentioned plenty of midfielders in this video and across all of my streams and videos throughout the week. So yeah, Gibbs White would be very appealing. Szoboszlai. It also depends on your budget, but I think some of the mid-priced options are the best ones in the midfield this week. Enzo Fernandez leaving Chelsea is not a rumour. Fabrizio says he's likely to leave. Yeah, but likely. It doesn't mean it's guaranteed. I think he will leave, but let's wait and see what happens. I don't think Saka will start, no. Same here, Wei Seng. Even though this period now, which is kind of stress-free, is enjoyable. But FPL-wise, it is stress because I don't know which player is going to start in my squad. And yeah, it's also a bit of a precarious situation. 1 free transfer. I get what you mean. FPL-wise, I certainly want this season to be over. Start 2, Saka, Saliba, Gross, Van Heck, Cherky. Gross, definitely. Great record against Manchester United. Probably Van Heck by default. You've got Cherky there as well, who's not a guaranteed starter. I'm going to go for Gross and Cherky. I think Van Heck would be ahead of the Arsenal players. In 9 months, we support a club. Next couple of weeks, we support a nation. Well, I support my nation and club all year round, but I get what you mean. Anthony or Szoboszlai, or Tel or Palmer. Szoboszlai. FIFA won't forget to do World Cup Fantasy. I'm telling you that now. Hey Dylan, wish you and all good luck. Thanks for a great season of content. Looking forward for UCL and World Cup content. Like and subscribe, friends. Yeah, so the World Cup will be on the channel if we do hit 39,000 subscribers today, and also getting the stream to over 100 likes. The Champions League, as usual, I'll be covering, so there'll be 2 videos. I can't do the stream at the usual time, which is around 2 hours before the deadline locks in, because I'll be in Budapest, but if possible, I'll do a stream either the night before or a couple of hours earlier. So I'll try to make that happen, but I can't really guarantee it, to be fair. Name 2 to 3 punt players with high ceilings, 10+ points. I think Fleming would stand out, actually. A Burnley player there against Wolves at home. I think Gibbs White is up there. Szoboszlai, Salah. I mean, Salah does cost 14 million, but last game for Liverpool, facing Brentford at home, I think it's going to be high scoring, like a lot of these matches probably will be. Yeah, I think those are some pretty good players. Obviously, asked for 2 or 3. Even Gross against Manchester United is quite underrated, but yeah, I definitely lean towards the others a little bit more. So Fair says, current team, Verbruggen, Mukiele, Gabriel, Lewis Skelly, O'Reilly, Cherky, Bruno, Anderson, Bowen captain, Thiago, Haaland, with Sanchez, Van Heck, first sub, Saka, Casemiro on the bench. Yeah, I think one possibility for you is Saka out, or even Thiago, but In terms of forwards, there aren't many I'd take a hit for this week. Unless you go really left field and buy Gabriel Jesus, which I don't think I'd recommend. Although, he has a great record against Crystal Palace. I forgot about that. So that might not be a terrible shout. But yeah, Fleming up front, is it worth a hit? Probably not. So I think Saka to a Gibbs White, Szoboszlai, Bruno Guimaraes, and then benching Thiago is something I'd recommend, even though Thiago is the second top scorer in the Premier League when it comes to actual goals. Who's the triple captain? It's probably Haaland for me, but Bruno Fernandes is very close. He's looking to break the record for assists, which I think he will do. A lot's being made of that. Good record against Brighton as well. So yeah, Erling Haaland is top, and I'd put Bruno Fernandes second, Bowen third. You're going to see my captaincy list very soon. The World Cup deadline will always be early for you in your time zone, right? I haven't had a look at all the deadlines. I think the majority of them will be quite early or late, depending on how you see it. But yeah, it's not ideal. I mean, the Club World Cup wasn't too bad. I mean, match day 1 was crazy, and the fact that the deadline actually locked in earlier than it should have was a bit of a farce. But the rest were at sort of normal times, especially the final. And I think that'll be the case this time round as well. But I'll look more into it if I actually cover the World Cup, and it all depends on your reception. If people want to see it as well, you got to show support. Liking, sharing, subscribing, all that good stuff, and we can make that happen. So this is the last question I'll answer for now. So you can keep them coming. I'll get back to them soon, but after this, I'm going to go through the stats and my predicted lineups to help people with the final transfers, decisions, captaincy picks, you name it. So Mogan says, hi Dylan, Raya, Gabriel, Saliba, O'Reilly, Gisbury Hall, Guimaraes, Bruno, Gross, Bowen, Haaland, Thiago, bench, Van Heck, Rodgers and Keane, 1 free transfer left. So I think Thiago or Rodgers out would be the most appealing. And it just depends on which player you want to bring in. So up front, there's Danny Welbeck, good record against Manchester United. Probably Fleming, who might be worth that free transfer. I think Gyökeres, Gabriel Jesus is quite difficult to predict. So unless we get clarity in that situation, it might be worth avoiding them entirely. I think the midfield has more options. And you've got Guimaraes already, which I really like. One of Gibbs White or possibly Szoboszlai, I think would be the most appealing to me. And one of them could be my final transfer of the season. For what it's worth, I think the Arsenal players are at massive risk of starting. Even Raya, we could see Kepa get the nod. Gabriel, Saliba, one of them might start, then get subbed off at half-time for the other. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a madness, but expect some benchings there, that's for sure. Okay, so let's go through the different screens, starting with the FDR. There's only one game week left, though. Burnley are top with Wolves, Spurs, West Ham, and Nottingham Forest in the top 5. Liverpool, Man City, Fulham, Brighton, and Sunderland are in the top 10. As for the bottom 5 teams, Aston Villa, Brentford, Manchester United, Everton, and Crystal Palace, Arsenal are quite low down. It's a good thing they sealed the title before. Otherwise, this could have been a very nervy week for them. In terms of predicted points, Haaland is top as usual with 7.5. Gabriel is second, and that's with the assumption he actually starts, and I really hope he does, and avoids injury in the process. Gibbs White is third with Bruno Fernandes, Van Dijk, Fleming, Salah, Mark Guéhi, Mavropanos, and Szoboszlai in the top 10. I think Mark Guéhi could be on the bench though. So in terms of the recommended transfer, oddly enough, they're recommending Gyökeres to Thiago. Now, if I were to buy one forward this week, it would be Jarrod Bowen, and Gyökeres would make way. So I'm quite open to taking a few hits here in the process. Now, I put a few polls out on my channel. One of them is about goalkeepers. Verbruggen has 77% of the votes. Darlow with just 23%, but I think both of them will concede. And the same goes for virtually every single club this weekend. Now, the final transfer of the season is going to be very difficult, but over half of you have voted for Gyökeres to Jarrod Bowen. In second is Semenyo, and it could also be Sarr, by the way, to Dominic Szoboszlai. And then Sarr to Gibbs White is third, and Guimaraes is last, but I think that's a very underrated move, and that could definitely bolster my Gameweek 38 prospects. Now, in terms of price changes, does it really matter? Not really at this point, but Senesi, Rayan, Pedro Porro, Bowen, Fleming, Bruno Fernandes, Calvert-Lewin, Rio Engamoa, Salah, and Van Dijk could all rise. The same goes for Mavropanos, Anderson from Nottingham Forest, and Jadon Anthony. In terms of price falls, Ismail Assar, Kevin Schade, Lacroix, Okafor, Tammy Abraham, Trossard, Semenyo, Pascal Struijk, Watkins, Gabriel, and Reinders, who started this season, well, with so much promise. This is a stats comparison of the two best players in Fantasy Premier League and the best captaincy picks for Gameweek 38. Erling Haaland is the top goal scorer of the division, and Bruno Fernandes leads with assists, 21 fantasy assists and 20 official ones. He needs one more to break the all-time record, and their stats are absolutely ridiculous. Haaland with 119 shots, 54 on target. Now, Bruno Fernandes is quite poor in that regard, only 22, but 77 shots overall is good. The same goes for the XG at 10.49, but Erling Haaland is over double at 24.05. And when it comes to XA, expected assists, big chance created and key passes, well, Bruno Fernandes is in a league of his own. 120 chances created, with 31 of them being big chances, and even 15 big chances for himself is good. But Erling Haaland has 47, which is by far the most in the Premier League. So great stats for both of them. But I think if Haaland starts against Aston Villa, he is the best captaincy pick, and Bruno Fernandes would be a close second. Now, in terms of FPL.team, one of the biggest selling points is the fact that you can visualize future game weeks. You can't do that anymore because, well, this is the last game week of the season. But going into the next campaign, I would highly recommend that you use a website like this for planning when it comes to transfers, chip strategy, you name it. And in terms of expected points, they recommend starting Verbruggen over Darlow. And this gives me 51 expected points by getting Bowen in for Victor Gyökeres, Hill, O'Reilly, Gabriel. If he even starts, we'll wait and see. Gross, Tavernier, Semenyo, another rotation risk, and Bruno Fernandes as the vice. They do recommend Haaland as the captain, with Calvert-Lewin and Bowen, who could complete my starting 11. So Darlow, Sarr, Van Heck, and Lacroix, which is going to be another one. This could even be Kepa, to be fair. I've gone for Hincapié just to be safe. I'm very confident the Ecuadorian will start with O'Reilly, Mavropanos. I've gone for Szoboszlai here. Bruno Guimaraes, Doku, Bruno Fernandes, and Gibbs-White. Bowen and Haaland up front. And if you need money, you can downgrade Senesi to James Hill, and that gives you an extra $1 million in the bank. Darlow, Fleming, and Biol also look decent, and you could even go for Dubravka as your main goalkeeper, but there is a chance that he doesn't start in his final game for the Clarets, but that could be an alternative here to David Raya and having that Burnley coverage against Wolves at home. But the expected points will drop here to 42.7 because there's no guarantee that Dubravka does get into that lineup. Now, in terms of FPL Challenge, I've made one change for my team selection video. Raya is still there, and I'm going to try my very best to see the lineups and actually, well, react accordingly when it comes to this game. Pedro Porro is my only defender. I don't think any team will keep a clean sheet. Bruno Fernandes and Salah in the midfield, Haaland captain, and Jarrod Bowen up front. And this week it is about final victory. Plus 8 points are awarded for any player on a winning team, even if they don't play. So that's why I've gone for Arsenal, Tottenham, Manchester United, even though I think they'll draw, Liverpool, West Ham, and Man City coverage. I might even go for a Burnley player like Fleming, and that could replace Bruno Fernandes even. I could do something a bit left field or replace one of Pedro Porro or David Raya. So I'll lock that in later in the stream, but the full focus, of course, is with FPL, and that's where my team selection comes into play. You'll see a brief recap of how I did in Gameweek 37, which was very disappointing, one of the most underwhelming match days of the campaign, and it's not a great time to have that. A massive swinging goal going for Verbruggen over Darlow. 9 points in the end, and the same goes for my transfers. I bought Victor Gyökeres for João Pedro, and Saka was the one who ended up getting a 10-pointer against Burnley, so that was quite disappointing. So I got 54 points overall after taking a -4 hit, and I went down, not by much, but I'm looking for green arrows and to end this season as strongly as possible. Not much has changed in terms of prices, but a few of them have been saved for tomorrow, where it doesn't matter at all. So Sarr could be sold to one of Szoboszlai, Bruno Guimaraes, or possibly Gibbs-White, and I could even sell Antoine Semenyo instead. But something else I'm looking at is Tavernier to Anderson or Victor Gyökeres making way for Jarrod Bowen, who for me is in the top 3 captains for Gameweek 38. So this is the provisional team selection for the final match day of the season, but the goalkeeper isn't locked in. One of Darlow or Verbruggen will start with Hill, Gabriel, and O'Reilly, Fernandes, Gross, Szoboszlai, who is the likely transfer, and Antoine Semenyo, Calvert-Lewin, Gyökeres and Haaland up front, with Verbruggen, Tavernier, Van Hecke and Lacroix on the bench. But the goalkeeper isn't settled. The same goes for my final transfer. I might even take a hit and get Bowen in the process, so that isn't guaranteed. And with the captaincy, I'm currently on Erling Haaland. I have been all week, but he's less likely to start compared to Bruno Fernandes, so there is an element of risk with that particular captaincy pick. So next up is going to be the scoreline predictions, which you haven't seen until now. Brighton 2, Manchester United 2, and all games are taking place at the same time, of course. Burnley 3, Wolves 2, Crystal Palace 1, Arsenal 2, Fulham 1, Newcastle 1, Liverpool 3, Brentford 2, Man City 3, Aston Villa 1, Nottingham Forest 1, Bournemouth 1, Tottenham 2, Everton 2, Sunderland 2, Chelsea 1, and West Ham to win by the same scoreline. But that wouldn't be enough to survive. They need Tottenham to lose, not just drop points. So when it comes to team weakness, I'm going to highlight Aston Villa here, and Erling Haaland for me is still the best captaincy pick. And maybe it's not a big distance, to be fair. And is he even going to start? Hopefully we get that information and clarity before the deadline locks in. But Haaland's numbers are ridiculous. You saw some of them earlier today. 47 big chances. The XG as well is the highest in the Premier League overall. And yeah, it's looking absolutely incredible as usual. So Haaland for me is going to be the captain. Bruno Fernandes is still a close second. And when it comes to the clean sheet odds, is there going to be one this week? I'm not so sure. But Man City are the most likely with 44%, and Arsenal are just behind them with 41%. Liverpool, West Ham, Burnley and Tottenham complete the top 6, and Aston Villa are last. I'll be honest with you, 11% seems way too high. And all these stats are taken by the website fantasyfootballpundit.com. So now, the top 10 captains. Let me know what you think in the live chat. And would you change anything? But I'm quite bullish on the top 3 and even the order of them. But you could certainly put Bruno Fernandes top. He has been the best player in the Premier League since November. With Gabriel up in 4th, that's with the assumption he starts, and that isn't a guarantee whatsoever. Doku is as high as 5th. I don't think he'll be as high as that for a very long time. Szoboszlai, Gibbs-White, Semenyo, Gyökeres and Salah are all up there, but there's no guarantee that some of them start, particularly Gyökeres and Antoine Semenyo, who are both in my FPL team, and that goes to show what a state my FPL squad is in. So, before I go back to your questions, there's one more thing to go through, and that's the predicted lineups for Gameweek 38 with a 88% success rate, possibly even 89%. And with Arsenal, who even knows at this point, but I'm going for Kepa in goal, Mosquera, Norgard in central defence, and I think Gabriel and Saliba will rotate between them. So, one of them will start and get 45 minutes, and then be subbed off for the other. Piero Hincapié at left back. There's another possibility here of Hincapié starting at left centre back, and then one of Lewis Skelly or maybe Calafiori on the left hand side. But Zubimendi will start here, and I've gone for Lewis Skelly in the midfield. Eze against his former club, and that's where Arsenal will lift the Premier League title at Selhurst Park. Madueke on the right, Martinelli on the left, and it's between Gyökeres and Gabriel Jesus up front. This is not set in stone, and there's a real possibility, and I hope we get the information before the deadline, because if Gyökeres doesn't start, then that will be an easy switch for me to Jared Bowen, that's for sure. Next up is Aston Villa. Marco Bizot will be in goal. I think Emi Martinez and the entire main team will be benched here for Bogard, Lindelof, Mings, Maatsen, Onana, Douglas Luiz, Bailey, Barkley, Sancho, and Tammy Abraham, with Ollie Watkins probably still drunk. Next up is Bournemouth. This is more of a certainty here, going for their strongest 11. They've secured the Europa League, but they still have an outside chance of qualifying for the Champions League with Petrovic, Smith, Hill, Senesi and Troffert, Scott and Adams in the midfield, Rayan, Krupi Jr., Tavernier and Ivanosen, which looks fairly decent here. With Brentford, there are a few question marks. Maybe we'll see Adja over Van den Berg and possibly Schade on the bench, so maybe Janelt could start alongside Yarmolenko and Jensen. Even Henderson has an outside chance, and he's actually called up to the World Cup squad once again. Obviously, Damsgaard could play on the left-hand side as well, but Dango and Thiago should start as well. The same goes for Coyote. Some of them are quite locked in. Their goalkeeper the same, of course, in Kelleher. And moving on to Brighton, Verbruggen, Kadioglu, Van Hecke, Dunk and De Kuyper, Belieber and Gross in the midfield, Gomez, Hinshelwood, Minter and Danny Welbeck, could he haunt his former club once again? And with Burnley, Dubravka, I think he'll start in his final game for the Clarets, but that isn't a guarantee either. And Vice has been fairly decent over the last 2 games. Walker, Twansebi, Esteve and Perez, Ogochukwu, Florentino Luis, Chuana, Hannibal Miebri, Anthony and Fleming, who could be a very decent punt here against Wolves at home. Moving on to Chelsea, a very difficult team to predict at times, but Sanchez, James, Fofana, Colwill and Cucurella is likely. There's even a chance for Hato, who's been fairly decent in recent games. Andre Santos and Caicedo in the midfield with Palmer, Enzo Fernandez, Pedro Neto and Joao Pedro. We're now on to Crystal Palace. A lot has been made about will they rotate or not. Now it doesn't even matter. Dean Henderson is in goal with Canva, Lacroix and Chadi Riyad. Lerma and Hughes in the midfield. We could see Devaney as the left wing back, but I've gone for Mitchell at the moment with Danny Munoz on the right. Brendan Johnson, Yeremy Pino and Mateta up front. I think Sarr will be on the bench. We now have Everton here with Pickford, O'Brien, Tarkovsky, Keane, Mikalenko, Eric Bonham, Garner, Roll, Dewsbury Hall, Indai and Beto. That's been quite nailed on over the last couple of matches. And with Fulham, there's always a few kind of doubts here at right back, even with Harry Wilson, who hasn't started in the last couple of games. But this will be his final game for Fulham. The same goes for Raul Jimenez, and that's why I've gone for both of them to start. But Maniz still has a chance there, of course. Leno, Castagna, Diop, Bassi and Robinson. Obviously, Joachim Andersen is out for the season due to suspension. Lukic and Iwobi, with Kevin returning to the starting 11 and Josh King completing proceedings. Leeds United have 2 yellow flag players in the starting 11 here in Aronson and Strauch. Even the likes of Stack and Goodmanson, also injury doubts here. Okafor as well. So I've gone for Darlow, Rodon, Biol, Strauch, James, Aronson, Ampadu, Tanaka, Justin with Calvert-Lewin alongside Nemecha. So that could be something a little bit different here. With Liverpool, Alisson could return between the sticks in Salah's final game for the club with Jones, Konate, Van Dijk. And another player who's leaving Liverpool is Robertson as a free agent. He could join Tottenham if the Lily Whites stay up. With Gravenberch, McAllister, Salah, Szoboszlai, Wirtz and Gakpo. But don't rule out Rio Ingamoa, who I think went up in price or will do very soon. Manchester City will go for Donnarumma, and then it's going to be a bit of an awkward one to predict. But I've gone for Nunez, Stones, Ruben Dias, O'Reilly, Bernardo Silva in his final game. He will definitely start, surely. Rodri, Semenyo, Cherki, Doku and Haaland. But don't rule out Phil Foden and Cherki starting together, or Cherki drops to the bench as a result and Foden gets the nod here against Aston Villa. So we could see a few changes for the citizens. And even for Manchester United, I saw a few predicted lineups with Lamins on the bench and Bayanda to start in his final game for the club. So don't rule that out. With Dalot, Maguire, Lisandro Martinez, I've also seen talks of Heaven getting the nod. So that's worth bearing in mind. I've gone for Shaw at left back. Casemiro has played his final game for Manchester United in that 3-2 win over Nottingham Forest. So I think Ugarte will take his place. But that could even be a youngster like Fletcher or somebody else entirely, like Mason Mount playing in a deeper role. With Mainu, Amad Diallo, Bruno Fernandes, Cunha and Brian Mbeumo to lead the line. Newcastle United will likely go for Pope. I've gone for Trippier here, another player who is going to feature in his last game, potentially. But don't rule out Lewis Hall, as the right back, even though he typically plays on the left-hand side. I've gone for Dan Burn there instead, with Botman and Chow, Bruno Guimaraes and Willock, Barnes, Voltemada, Ramsey and Osula. That could be the Newcastle 11. Moving on to Nottingham Forest, Sells, Williams, Milenkovic and one of Morata or Jer Cunha, with Nets, who had a pretty poor game last time out, Hutchinson and Gibbs-White as the wingers, with Sangari and Anderson in the midfield, and Chris Wood and Igor Jesus playing up front, and technically Igor Jesus does play off him as the second striker. So Sunderland, Roves, Gertrauda, Mukiele, O'Neill, Reinildo Mandava, Xhaka, Siddiqui, Hume, Lefebvre, Angulo and Brobby. That is my predicted 11 against Chelsea at home. And with Tottenham Hotspur, the only doubt I have was with Kolo Muani. We could see something like Solanke up front if he's fit, and Richarlison on the left, Tell on the right, but I've gone for Kinski in goal, Pedro Porro, Danso, Van de Ven and Udogie, and that could also be Jed Spence, of course. João Paulinho and Bentancur in central midfield, Gallagher a bit further forward, Richarlison spearheading the attack with Kolo Muani and Tell as the wingers. There are 2 teams left here with West Ham going for Hermansen, Wan-Bissaka, Mavropanos, who could be quite decent here against Leeds at home. Disasi, Diouf, Soucek, Fernandes. Bowen is a very underrated option here, even from a captaincy perspective. Pablo, Somerville, and Tati Castellanos. The last squad is Wolves, who are bottom of the Premier League table, with Jose Sarr, Mosquera, Santiago Bueno, and Krejci. Wolf as the left back, Joao Gomez and Andre in central midfield, Rodrigo Gomez and Hwang Hee-chan on the wings, Mane and Adam Armstrong, I believe it is, or just Armstrong, we'll call him that. But those are the lineups here for all 20 Premier League teams, at least according to me, and I've got an 88% success rate. Hopefully that goes up somehow to 89% before the season closes. We have 1 hour left, by the way, to lock in our transfers, so let's be sure to make our moves, I'd say in half an hour's time, maybe a little bit later if possible, but I think the website will go crazy in the last couple of minutes, so try to ensure you have everything set up before then, but we could get information over the next hour or so. So be very mindful about that, and I will react as soon as possible. So let's get back to your questions and whiz through them, of course. A lot of stats and data that I just went through. Good to see you, Paredes, as always. I'm missing 0.1 million to go Joao Pedro to Bowen and Lacroix to Pedro Porro. We'll go either Richarlison and Porro or Bowen and another Spurs defender. I'd rather go for Bowen and either a Spurs defender or Mavropanos. I'm not a big fan of Richarlison, even though he has his moments, of course. Issue is I think Spurs will defend. Yeah, look, that's the thing. If you have a prediction of Spurs maybe keeping a clean sheet or being more solid defensively, then yeah, you could definitely go in that direction, but I just don't see them keeping a clean sheet against Everton. Joao Pedro's not confirmed out. He's yellow flagged. Richards to Van Dijk. I think Brentford will score, but Van Dijk can still score himself and get DEFCON, so he's a decent option. Good to see you, Duarte. Good day to you as well. Dahl over Bruggen, Gabriel, Riley, Van Heck, Senesi, Rodon, Bruno, Cherky, Gross, Saka, Tavernier, Joao Pedro, Haaland, Gyökeres. One free transfer. Who do I bring in and for whom? Yeah, I think one of Gyökeres or Joao Pedro to Bowen definitely appeals. Discussed earlier, Szoboszlai, Bruno Guimaraes would be quite decent. I think I'd keep your defensive line as it is, and if Gabriel's benched, so be it. You can bench him yourself, but yeah, I'd sell one of Saka and yeah, Joao Pedro, Gyökeres. I would maybe even consider a -4 hit in your situation, and that could really help you. The thing is, obviously, that would include a benching dilemma, but I think, for example, if you do Joao Pedro to Bowen and Saka to one of those midfielders I named, I'd probably bench Tavernier. Palace also will do rotation. Yes, but during his Frankfurt days, Oliver Glasner played a very strong team just days before the Europa League final, which he ended up winning, and it was a nothing game in the Bundesliga. So I think he'll start a few players, but it will be a bit of rotation like we've seen in recent weeks, where in one game Sarr starts and Mateta's benched, in the other one it's the opposite way around. Should I just do Joao Pedro to Bowen and start Cherky, or get Gibbs White to -4? Well, I think Cherky will start. Based on that, and I could be wrong, I'd probably avoid the hit, but I get the appeal there for sure. And I think Gibbs White is worth a hit in many situations. So either transfer plan is plausible and it makes a lot of sense, but because I think Cherky will start, I'd probably avoid the hit here. Yeah, I think Tati Castellanos will start. Is he worth buying in? He could be fairly decent, but I think Bowen is still the one I'd look at. I think Somerville could have a good game against Leeds. He's another one I'd be interested in, but yeah, it's such a massive game with so much pressure riding off it, and good luck to West Ham, obviously. Who's more likely to start, Eze or Cherky? I think Cherky. I've got both of them in my predicted lineups, but there's a chance that we see neither start, to be fair. Gabriel or O'Reilly? O'Reilly. Will Joao Pedro play? I think so, but I could be wrong. Thank you very much, the geographical term. By the way, Dylan, just want to say a massive thank you for all the FPL help this season. Ended up on 10 consecutive green arrows after discovering your channel. Wish I did it early in the season. I'm glad to hear it. I wish I had 10 consecutive green arrows. Otherwise, I'd be a very happy man FPL-wise. But I'm glad to hear that it's helped you, and hopefully you enjoy the content as well. All the best for Gameweek 38. End the season as strongly as possible. Make it 11 consecutive green arrows and win your mini league in the process. So big up to you, and thanks for the kind words. Well, the best free hit team I showed you earlier, just before the team selection graphics and stuff like that, the clean sheet odds and stuff, I did go for the best team. There's also a video for it, so be sure to check that out, but it's up in the air. I think some of the players like Gabriel and Raya might not even start. I think that the Gameweek 38 FPL deadline should only be 45 minutes before the matches kick off. Well, I think generally speaking, the deadlines should be, well, at kickoff, like it is for FPL, well, I should say for UCL Fantasy and the World Cup as well. But that's just my opinion. Big up to Sid, thank you very much. Welbeck to Bowen. Saka to an 8.8 million midfielder or less. Yeah, one of Szoboszlai, Bruno Guimaraes, or Gibbs White. My favourite. It's a toss-up between Szoboszlai and Gibbs White for me. But I would go to Bowen, even though Welbeck has a decent record against Manchester United, which, yeah, it could be quite tough if you sell him for a hit or even as a free transfer, depending on your context. But yeah, Welbeck can still haul, but I think Bowen is the second best forward this week behind Erling Haaland. Yeah, I think Dubravka will start, but I couldn't guarantee it. I'm almost 60-40 in Dubravka's favour, but it was quite surprising to see him benched in the last couple of games. Yeah, differential captains would definitely include Jared Bowen, Jeremy Doku, although that's very left field, Gibbs White, Szoboszlai, Salah. Those are quite a few for you. You saw it in my top 10 list as well. No leaks at the moment. I will have a look fairly soon, though, because maybe there is something that escaped my attention. I've been mainly focused on the graphics and also your questions. Gibbs White or Szoboszlai, I'm going to make the same decision. I'm very confident about that. So selling one of Sarr or Semenya to them. I think it's probably worth referring back to my top 10 captaincy list, and you can see my current preference, which is very, very slim in Szoboszlai's favour, but that could easily be the other way around. Gabriel needs 6 points to break his overall point season. Yeah, I think he might start, but I don't see him getting 60-plus minutes, so it's a bit of an awkward one here with Gabriel. Yeah, I think Bowen outscores Richarlison. Bournemouth get Champions League spot. If Villa get number 5, right? I don't think it goes like that. I mean, it depends on other things happening as well. I think Palace getting Conference League, winning the Conference League, and maybe Arsenal winning the Champions League. But yeah, I haven't seen all the ins and outs for that, but they want to finish 5th. And ultimately, I think Liverpool will still beat Brentford. Hey, Dylan, bench 1, Saliba, Gabriel, Truffert. I'd bench Saliba. Well, I discussed captaincy options already, to be fair. Maybe you put this question earlier. We will all be doing a Dylan buzzer beater today. Well, I'm going to lock in my team as soon as possible when it comes to that. But yeah, I don't want to leave things to chance, that's for sure. Hola, Dylan. Thanks for your insights this season. Much appreciated, Outcast. Not a great FPL, but it doesn't matter with Arsenal winning this year. Agreed. I 100% echo that. Enjoy that feeling. And thanks again, Dylan. Yeah, Tuesday was absolutely mad. I mean, 100,000 people just turned up to the Emirates like unannounced and unprompted, and I was one of them. It was a great experience. I'm going to miss the parade next week, and hopefully that includes the Champions League title, but I think it's a bit unfair for those going to Budapest because, yeah, the parade is taking place at 2 p.m. on the Sunday. I mean, my flight is going to be later, so I'm not able to make it, but hopefully we can somehow do the unthinkable, win the Champions League as well. I'm a very greedy man at times. Thiago to Calvert-Lewin, a good move. I'm not sure if I'd go for Calvert-Lewin now. He is in good form with goals in 3 consecutive games, but I'd rather buy a different forward. That includes Fleming, if you're looking for a budget striker. Is Saka to Salah worth a hit? There is a slight chance Salah's benched. I think he will get the nod for what it's worth. You saw my lineups already. I'd probably say yes. I don't think Saka will get a return here, but I could be wrong. Start Eze or Welbeck. I'd start Welbeck. Gyökeres to Bowen, DCL, Osula, Trossard, Tavernier to any mid. I'd probably do Trossard to one of Gibbs White or Szoboszlai. I also like Bruno Guimaraes, but yeah, those 3 definitely appeal to me. I wouldn't mind even taking a hit here and saying something like Gyökeres to Bowen as well. So that would be my advice. In the midfield, yeah, I think Tell would be bottom of that list. It's one of Szoboszlai or Gibbs White. Slight preference for Szoboszlai, I guess, but that's not set in stone. I also like Fleming, but it depends who you're selling there. Or Bowen or Richarlison. Bowen. Bowen for sure. Leading the league by 10 points. Check the squad. It says home sweet home. Darlow, Hill, O'Reilly, Tarkowski, Bruno, Saka, Tavernier, Gross, Semenyo, Haaland, Pedro, Calvert-Lewin. What do you suggest? -4 or -8? Possibly a -4. I don't think a -8 is out of the question for you, but yeah, definitely a -4. So Saka to Szoboszlai looks good. The same goes with Pedro to Bowen. You could start Darlow, Hill, O'Reilly. Not a big fan of Tarkowski, but he could get DEFCON. Yeah, I think a -4 is probably best. Now, there is a chance that Semenyo doesn't start. So yeah, Haaland on the bench. Ah, great, yeah. So there you go. That's a captaincy change there. Thanks for letting me know. I'm going to go through that as well. So Haaland is on the bench. We're going to see a lot of benchings here. This is not going to be great. I might even sell him for a hit or something. So let's do a poll on the channel now. Okay. So what I'm looking to do here then is Haaland to Bowen and then possibly buy Salah, which is risky. It's very risky. But that could definitely work. And I could sell Sa to Salah. I've got enough money for that. But yeah, he's let me down. The 2 times I've had Salah, well, obviously I started the season with him, but ever since I wildcarded in like Game Week 6 and I got Salah on the 2 free hits, it was an absolute disaster. In the first one, he didn't start. In the second one, he got injured against Crystal Palace. So the less said about that, the better. But maybe third time lucky, and Salah can wrap the season up in style. So yeah, I'll get that news up for you. Saka bench. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. I mean, I'd be shocked if Saka does start. So yeah, a lot of news coming in, it looks like. I'll have a look for it and verify it myself, but lazy FPL typically get things right when it comes to Manchester City. Okay. Let's go through this now, just so you can see. We're not making it up. Haaland doesn't start. So Marmoush could be a decent punt, by the way, for those looking to go for something a little bit different. But I'm probably going to go for Jared Bowen. Let's get the likes up to 100. Thank you very much to those that have done so already. And if we can get to 39,000 subscribers today, that would be greatly appreciated. We are 26 away from that milestone. So let's be sure to reach that in the next hour or so. I'm sorry, there are 2 Champions League videos to look forward to next week. The best team for match day 17 and my team selection with 5 free transfers at my disposal. And hopefully I can do a final deadline stream of the campaign, but it will be earlier. I can't stream at the usual times there. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And also, the fun doesn't stop there, because with the World Cup, well, if you want to see that covered, then show support and share, subscribe, hype, all that good stuff. And also subscribe. So if you do hit 39,000 subscribers, I will be covering the World Cup in, well, a couple of weeks' time. And hopefully as early as June, I can get some content out for you. But yeah, that's going to require some new graphics and yeah, a lot of work being put into it to have everything set up for the summer. It's going to be a very crazy tournament indeed. And it all starts on the 11th of June. But I can go as early as the 1st of June potentially, or in the early parts of the month. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And also for the Champions League, because the season is still not over. But yeah, Saka apparently benched as well. We'll have a look at that too. Let me see if I can get the origins. If you have a link, by the way, drop it and I'll go through that as well. Thank you to those that have told me about the Erling Haaland benching. I don't see anything about Saka, but I'll have a look. So Haaland doesn't start. That's an interesting one. Yeah, Marmoush could be a very decent differential, by the way. Very decent indeed. Yeah, well, Erling Haaland benched. I guess maybe a lot of people aren't surprised, but yeah, I was kind of hoping he would get the start there. But at least it opens up the captaincy now a little bit. And that's where Bowen could be really interesting as well. Yeah, there aren't many forwards to bring in apart from Jared Bowen. Not ones that really stand out to me. I mean, there's Fleming with the fixture, but yeah, that's a bit of an awkward one. So yeah, I'm going to also take the vice-captaincy away from Erling Haaland then. Just for him to score a brace off the bench. It's just what he does. So I'm going to go back to my squad and at least change the vice-captaincy for now. I guess Victor Gyökeres, and that could also become Jared Bowen very soon. But yeah, I'm very tempted now to make these transfers, Bowen and Salah. So let's see what the poll is saying. Sell for a hit is winning with 58%. Tavernier or Cherky? Cherky still, but we could see some crazy benchings here for Manchester City. Yeah, I mean, Bowen's going to come in for me. I mean, it's not a massive, fun, differential punt, I guess, but it'll do. Justin Nicholas says, Gyökeres, the Bowen, DCL, Osler. Yeah, I covered that one earlier. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'd sell Trossard, as I mentioned before. I wouldn't even mind taking a hit and selling Gyökeres the Bowen, as I said as well. Joao Pedro, Cherky, Gibbs White, Gross, Szoboszlai, who to bench? I'd probably say Joao Pedro. MMK says Raya, Gabriel, Mukiele, Hill, Senesi, Cherky, Bruno Guimaraes, Gakpo, Bruno Fernandes, Semenyo, Thiago. One free transfer, thinking of replacing Thiago with someone else, or should I keep him and replace? I'd probably replace Thiago, and sounds boring. I'm going to keep saying this, but Bowen is my favourite forward to buy this week. He's number one now. Erling Haaland, yeah, is no longer top of the charts, so yeah, I'd go for Jared Bowen there. Hello, Dylan. We actually won the league. My neighbour gave me tickets to the game today for free. Wow. I mean, that's a very nice present for them. Enjoy it. I'm going to be going to the Champions League final next week, and yeah, it's going to be a great experience. I haven't been able to go to many Premier League games this season. It's so difficult to get them because of the ballot system, but yeah, maybe it requires a better membership, to be fair, but enjoy it and have a lot of fun. Sunderland playing for Europe, by the way. Any assets worth playing? I think their best assets are still defensively, but against Chelsea, it could be a low-scoring game. I've gone for 2-1 Sunderland, but yeah, I think it's an awkward one in terms of their assets this week, and they showed much more promise and consistency at the beginning of the campaign. Get White, Szoboszlai, and Foden mids. There's no guarantee Foden starts, but there is a chance for sure. Szoboszlai is my favourite. Ben White is injured, by the way, unless you mean Gibbs White. In that case, yeah, that's a very close call between him and Szoboszlai. Honestly, it's 50-50. I'm leaning towards Szoboszlai at the moment, but that could definitely change. Yeah, I'm not sure if he starts, though, is he? And if he does, there's no guarantee he gets 60-plus minutes, so it is what it is. Arteta and Gabriel are not aware of how many FPL points he's scoring, by the way, so they're not going to factor that in. We've got nothing to play for as well. Well, yeah. Some of your fans were celebrating conceding goals against City, by the way, and then they beat you in an FA Cup final. What's that about? Richarlison, a lot to play for. I'm not a big fan of Richarlison in general. I've said that before. Bowen is the preference for me up front, but yeah, if there's one Tottenham attacker to go for, I guess Richarlison's the best of a bad bunch, so it could be decent. I don't think he'll do that well against Everton, despite the fact it's his former club, and yeah, sometimes you get a bit of magic happening there. If Haaland is benched, should I just keep Gyökeres? It looks like he is benched. I really trust FPL Newsletter or Lazy FPL. I'd probably just keep Gyökeres, and he could get something off the bench, to be fair, and so could Haaland, but yeah, I think I'd probably stick with a -4. So Salah starts, according to Lazy FPL, the same source that said Haaland's benched is saying Salah starts. So there you go. We're getting leaks. Like I said, it's usually a bit more common to get them at this stage of the season for Gameweek 38. And we definitely need it because otherwise, well, I would have captained Haaland and I would have been very unhappy with that. Salah, surely he's going to end it on a bang. He's burnt me so many times this season. So I'm just going to show that to you. Thank you, Nuclear Atoms, for pointing it out. Salah starts, Haaland benched. So there you go. Hi, Dylan. Good to see you again, mate. Massive congratulations on the title win. Thank you. I'm a greedy man, though. I'm going to enjoy today. But in a week's time, I want that Champions League. And that would be an incredible way to end the season. What do I do now, Dylan? Just leave Haaland on the bench or take another hit? Well, there aren't many forwards that I'm really that bullish on. And that's why I said to people earlier to make transfers closer to the deadline if possible. I didn't expect the sort of bombshell to drop now. I thought it would have been a bit closer to the deadline. But yeah, I think in an ideal world, you would keep João Pedro and then sell Haaland for a hit. But there's still a chance João Pedro doesn't start anyway. So I'm not that fussed about João Pedro either, but I get your frustrations there. I mean, Fleming, Richarlison. Yeah, there aren't really many forwards. Marmoush is classified as a midfielder, so yeah, I don't think I would. Unless with the hit, maybe even an extra hit, you can do something like Salah in, because he's starting here, and selling Haaland to a different forward. But yeah, Fleming would be one of the standout ones, and it's not really worth a hit for me. Yeah, 40 minutes of mayhem, exactly that. So answering all your questions, of course, I've caught up to all of you. Let's get this stream to over 100 likes at the very least and close in on a new goal in 39,000 subscribers. We are getting ever closer towards that milestone. Let's be sure to reach that before the end of the season. It'd be a great way to wrap things up. I'm going to end the poll. It looks like I've ended it already. Interesting. Okay. Not sure what's happened there. It's not even letting me do a poll. I might need to... That's really weird. I'm going to close the chat and open it again. But yeah, I'm going to do another poll soon. So yeah, sell for a hit. 61% of you have voted that. I'm going to end it now. Okay. Now I can start another one. So a lot of bombshells dropping our way. Good luck. Arsenal's unlike any other team PSG going to face this tournament. Yeah, I agree. And Arsenal have the best goal difference in the Champions League this season. The least goals conceded. Yeah, I think Arsenal have a genuine chance, but obviously PSG are a top team and they've got some incredible talent. But yeah, hopefully both teams can get their best players on the pitch. And I think there are rumours of Hakimi missing out. I'll talk about that in my Champions League content. But I think Dembele will be available. There's an outside chance for Timber. I really hope he can make it. But yeah, I think we're looking at the two best teams in Europe alongside Bayern Munich. And hopefully we get a great game of football. Greed is good. Vamos. It can be good. I think in this context it is. And yeah, Arsenal shouldn't stop there. It's one Premier League title. It's about time. Hopefully more to come. Hi, Dylan. Good to see you again. Sorry, I covered that already. It's just my chat is all over the place now. Imagine Pep will do a plot twist in his game and put Haaland in the first 11 last minute. He's not going to do that. Surely not. If Haaland does start, it's because Marmoush feels ill or something, or whoever it does in the lineup, and it opens up the spot for Haaland. It looks like he's going to be benched. Worth taking a -4 hit to get Salah in? I think so, yeah. Now, it does depend on who you're selling as well, but in my case, I could sell one of Sarr or Semenyo. I think both of them might not even start. I'm probably going to keep Semenyo in the end, sell Sarr, and take a hit in the process, get Bowen in for Haaland, and get Salah in the midfield. So that's going to be my next poll, by the way. That could also help you with your final decision. But I'm going to try lock in soon. The problem is we could get more bombshells in the next half an hour. Yes, we are champions, and hopefully Argentina can do it as well, but that's very greedy. 4 trophies in a row for Argentina. I'm hoping something similar for Arsenal as well, but one step at a time. The Champions League is next. I'm thinking of taking a hit, selling Saka and just starting Mukiele. I'm not a big fan of selling, or I should say starting Mukiele, but yeah, getting rid of Saka is definitely the right call. There are a lot of midfielders that stand out this week. Even Salah could be one of them, and I might be one of those bringing him in. Hey Dylan, Saka to Szoboszlai and take a -4 to transfer out Okafor for who? I'm top of my mini league with just 6 points clear. Is the -4 hit worth it? Well, the thing is, like, do you have 3 forwards starting? And what about your other midfielders? Because if you could just bench Okafor, that's not too bad. But if you have like a weak link in your starting 11, that's where selling Okafor for a hit comes into play. And then one of Gibbs White, Bruno Guimaraes, these players that I've talked about before in my best team podcast and throughout the stream would also be quite handy. So yeah, I think selling Okafor for a hit is worth it, but it also depends on your current starting 11 and what would happen if you end up making those changes. Mo Salah, yes. If I do bring him in, I'm going to be really rooting for him to get a goal or two. Gyökeres is a keep or go. Well, I'd rather sell Haaland now, even though he could come off the bench and score. And there's no guarantee Gyökeres starts either. Maybe Gabriel Jesus could be worth a punt. Great record against Crystal Palace. And he might get the start there for Arsenal. But yeah, I think between Gyökeres and Haaland, I'd rather keep Gyökeres here. We are all Dylan today. To a certain extent, yes. Szoboszlai over Gibbs White. Only just, and even then, it's 50-50. The main reason why I'd lean towards Szoboszlai is because Bournemouth have been outstanding since January. Dylan. Yeah, I called you 3 times. Congratulations. I don't know why I read out 3 times. Finally, after 2 decades of waiting, Arsenal have won the Premier League trophy. Yes, and like I said, it's long overdue, and I'm hoping for more now. But obviously, enjoy this one, prepare for next week, and hopefully it's a magic summer. Or magical summer, I should say. Haaland, Saka, Harry Wilson or Munoz out to Bowen, Salah, and Semenyo, Marmoush, Pedro Porro. The problem is, in the defence, there aren't many standouts, and I think a lot of them could blank, or it's very difficult to tell who's going to get the returns in that defensive line, but I think Munoz is your bigger weak link. I think Wilson will start for Fulham. But yeah, Saka should go. I think selling Saka is definitely the right call. And yeah, Haaland too. Bowen and Salah look really good. I think a lot of us will be making that sort of switch. Let's do this poll once and for all. So which midfielder would you bring in? So let's put Szoboszlai, Salah, Gibbs White. I think those are the main contenders. There is Bruno Guimaraes as well, but I think that's what it kind of comes down to. You know what? I'm going to say a cheeky punt here on Marmoush. I actually don't mind that. I think Marmoush could be a really good one against Aston Villa. Which FPL midfielder would you bring in? Okay. 30 minutes of FPL. That's a good one, actually. That should be my title. No Haaland, Salah in. Let's go. It's just Salah's let me down twice this season. Welcome, Sydney. Hope you're well too. I'm considering transferring out Joachim Andersen with my 1-free transfer instead of any of my City, Arsenal, Palace players, just so that I have a full 11. Well, it makes sense. I mean, Andersen definitely won't play, but if I'm being honest with you, most Arsenal players will be rested, if not all of them. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of scripted, isn't it? I mean, Argentina could have faced Portugal in the World Cup final in the last one. I think it will be an Argentina-Portugal quarterfinal, and hopefully Argentina get the better of them. But either way, we've got the World Cup trophy. So congratulations. I mean, if you're saying that, what about, you know what, let me not even say anything. Enjoy your little moment. Sell Saka to Salah, Gyökeres, Haaland to Bowen. I'd rather sell Haaland to Bowen. And yeah, sell Saka to Salah as part of a hit potentially as well. Arsenal fans here in my country are just celebrating, and the road is full of people wearing Arsenal shirts. Yeah, London is full of Arsenal fans, and we're seeing even more coming out. And yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the celebrations have only just started. It's going to take place all summer, and next Sunday is going to be a madness. I wish I was there to see it. As a Liverpool fan, it will feel criminal not to captain Salah now that he starts and Haaland's benched. Yeah, and by the way, Salah does rise up the rankings for the captaincy because we actually know he starts. So yeah, Salah's definitely an interesting one there. On a -16 so far, that's crazy. Hopefully they pay off for you. Arsenal and Chelsea, best friends for life. No, no, we're not best friends with Chelsea. Chelsea fans hate us. It's not a fresh haircut. I had it a couple of weeks ago, actually, beginning of May. I'm actually thinking of getting another one fairly soon, and then leaving it for a while. But it's too hot here in the UK. I mean, I'm enjoying it, but in London particularly, I mean, it's just way too hot for what you get. There's no beaches. I'm taking... wait, should your neighbours do the usual? Not sure what you mean by that one, by the way. I'm taking Haaland out. Now I got the chance to sign Salah. I'm probably going to do it myself, Justin. The poll is quite close, by the way. Szoboszlai is winning. For some reason, the third option is blank for me. Okay, that's weird. Oh, it's very close here between Salah and Szoboszlai. I really like Marmoush, by the way. I think that's a very good punt. He should start up front. He's out of position. And by the way, the streets are going crazy with Arsenal. Yeah, people are celebrating already. It's a party atmosphere. Is João Pedro, Saka, Gabriel starting? João Pedro, I think, will. Gabriel is almost 50-50, and if he does, he's not going to get 60-plus minutes, in my opinion. He'll probably be subbed off for half-time, and you'll see something like Saliba coming in. But yeah, let me go back to my FPL team. Obviously, we all know Salah starts, Haaland is on the bench. Saka won't start. I don't think so. I have Haaland, Rodgers, Watkins. Which two should I sell, considering selling Haaland? There's a case to sell all of them, to be honest with you. I don't think either Aston Villa player will start, but Rodgers is more likely out of the two. Yeah, Haaland to Bowen would look good. But this is where it comes into play as well. It's not just about who you're selling, but who you're bringing in. And I think there are more options in the midfield. So Salah in for Rodgers looks quite good compared to the alternatives for Watkins. So I'd probably keep Watkins here and sell the first two. Would you take a -8 if you're up 38? Yeah, once again, depends on who you're selling and buying, but a 38-point gap is quite decent. No leaks for Arsenal, but most of them should be benched. My biggest concerns are Raya, Kepa, Gabriel, does he start or not? And I think a lot of predicted lineups will not have them in there. I showed mine earlier in this stream. Will I have time to show it once more? Hopefully, but there's a lot of questions to go through. Sack to Szoboszlai and Thiago to Bowen for a -4. To captain Bowen and keep Haaland for when he comes on. Yeah, it's not a bad idea, but I think a lot of us will be selling Haaland and going Salah. That doesn't mean you have to do it too, of course, but I like your transfers. Yeah, Szoboszlai and Bowen in looks really good. Obviously, if you were to sell Haaland instead, you could then bring in Salah with no hesitation, but that comes down to your personal preference, and I like what you're going for right now. Gyökeres or DCL? I think Gyökeres will start, but I'm not fully settled on that. There's a good chance Gabriel Jesus gets the nod as well. But I'd probably prefer Gyökeres if he does start. Yeah, Haaland benched. Who do I bring into the starting 11? Also have Saka, no free transfer. Well, you could sell Saka to, well, plenty of midfielders. You could even take a -8 hit and do something like Haaland to Bowen if you don't have him, and Saka to Salah. And then you're going to have more benching dilemmas there. But I think Gross should start. He has a great record against Manchester United. 7 goals in 12 Premier League games. So that'd be my advice to you. Hey, Dylan. There are news that O'Reilly and Cherki won't start. Oh my God, this is crazy. Yeah, this is going to be absolute madness. Let me have a look. Thank you for pointing that out. Oh dear. Yeah, there's a lot more to go through here. Yeah, Lazy FPL are doing a madness here with all these leaks. Let's go through that as well. So, what the hell? For those that are maybe waking up now or tuning in late, Haaland doesn't start. O'Reilly and Cherki don't start. And Salah starts. I think I'm just going to take massive hits here and just fuck it. I think that's what I'm going to do. -8 minimum. So, thanks to those that have pointed me in the right direction. This is my current team. Oof. It's not looking great. It really isn't. Okay. O'Reilly out. But the thing is it worth a hit? I could just start Van Heck, to be fair. But then, is Gabriel going to start? Probably not. Yeah, it's not looking good whatsoever. I'll do a poll for that very soon as well. But yeah, late decisions, late drama, and chaos, and everything is going to be covered here on the channel. Let's get the stream up to 100 likes and close in on that goal of 39,000 subscribers. We are 22 away. Let's be sure to reach that by the end of the stream. Big up to those that have supported the channel for the last couple of years here. But yeah, more leaks are out indeed. Well, we're not going to get all the lineups until, what, 40 minutes time? At 2:45 p.m. But yeah, I probably have places to go straight after the stream is done. And yeah, it's going to be a madness to even watch the game somewhere because everywhere is packed in London. Absolutely packed. Any changes you'd make? Well, Riley's bench, so I would change him if possible. I'd sell Saka. Maybe start Strauch here or Chow. Obviously, Hill would definitely start, and I'd probably take a punt on Gabriel, who probably will get benched as well. But yeah, this is not looking like a great FPL week at the moment when it comes to benchings. Sell Haaland to Bowen or Dati or Marmoush. Well, Marmoush is a midfielder in this game, so you can't do that. Krupi's decent, but my favourite is Bowen. Anderson or Doku? Doku. Fleming or Mane? Fleming. Van Dijk or Van Heck? Van Dijk. Osler or Welbeck? It's close, but I'd go for Welbeck. Mavropanos or Borro? Mavropanos. Mind you, my front line currently is Beto, Yokras, and Joao Pedro. Keep them free or -8. Maybe sell one of them for Bowen, but not all of them. I'd probably just keep 2 of them for, well, at the very least. Yeah, Gibbs White and Szoboszlai look good. Let's say Aston Villa don't qualify for the Champions League at least next season. Will they play Europa? Well, Aston Villa have already qualified for the Champions League. They're 5th. They won the Europa League, so they've already secured it through 2 routes. Yeah, they've secured top 5. As for next season, we'll talk about that. But yeah, a few teams will drop off, in my opinion. Haaland's bench, mate. That's why I'm looking to sell him. Would you bench Minter or Cherky? Well, I'd bench Cherky because he's benched. Darlow to Hermanson. Last game looked nice for Leeds. I don't know if it's worth a transfer. If it's for free, I guess it's a better chance of a clean sheet. But even then, not so sure. I'd probably keep what you've got. Yep, Haaland's benched. Play Raya or just play Henderson? Play Raya. And if he doesn't start, then so be it. You get Henderson come on anyway. Joao Pedro or Haaland for Bowen? I'd rather sell Haaland now. Borro captain? No. I will not captain a Spurs player, especially a defender. I think Everton will score. Get Gunners, Cannon, Shea for final, Dylan. I'm not doing that. Start Cherky or Mane? Probably Mane by default. That's a bit of a bad slander name, mate. But yeah, I think Lewis Skelly will start. With the latest leaks, Haaland to Bowen and Saka to Salah seems pretty obvious, even for a -4. Yes, but then you've got O'Reilly to come into play as well, so it's just an absolute madness right now. Are we all thinking that Salah will play today? He's going to start, apparently, according to Lazy FPL, who are quite reliable. But he will be subbed off probably around 70 minutes. Hopefully not before that. Otherwise, yeah, it could be a repeat of Gameweek 34 when I free hitted him in. But he got subbed off early because of injury. I meant your neighbours should hide their girlfriends. Yeah, you made that joke a few weeks ago when I actually had a fresh haircut. It's the same one. I haven't changed that. Yep, it's going to be a madness to even get 11 out. But we're going to try our best. I bought him Voltamada. I bought him back in October, such a long time ago, and he did fairly well for me, but seems like an age, because back then he was actually doing very well. Yeah, I mean, I just covered it now, Larking, a few times, so Salah starts, Haaland benched, the same with Cherky and O'Reilly, all benched, so a lot of madness. We are so screwed, I'm not surprised, but Arsenal won the league, so I don't really care. Thiago to Osler, Haaland to Bowen. I'm not a big fan of Osler. I'd rather go for Fleming. That's just a personal preference of mine. Pep legit trying to rest the entire first 11. What for? There's nothing else. Nico, Riley and Rain Cherky do not start. Yes, thank you very much. And that 16 is growing. Yeah, it's... We could be looking at -24s and above here. No surprise if Trafford get the start. Yeah. Alright, so... With this poll, Salah's winning. Not by much. It's a very close one. But he's got 30% of the vote. Szoboszlai in second. Gibbs White with a quarter of votes overall. And Marmoush last. I think Marmoush is a very good choice here. Playing up front, out of position against Aston Villa. So, Keep O'Reilly. Start Van Heck. Sell O'Reilly to, I guess, Pedro Porro. There aren't many great options here. The other options would include Hincapié, maybe? I think he'll start. I'll keep it fairly simple because there aren't many defenders I'd want to take it for. Mavropanos, I guess. I think he's probably the best one, but is it worth a hit? Probably not. So, yeah. Let's see what you lot say in this latest poll. Is a -8 crazy now? -8 is probably reasonable for a lot of people, mate. It's not that bad, but yeah, there are some people taking -16s and above, just to put it that way. But yeah, with a 24-point lead, it's decent. Obviously, that can still change in a week, but you still got that 16-point buffer after taking it, so it's not too bad. I prefer Fleming over Richarlison, but that's a personal take of mine. I also like the fixture there. I'm not sure if Semenyo starts, but given what we're hearing right now, probably not. I'm fearing the worst here. I'm 150k. What will it take to finish 100k? A lot of luck, not many benchings, and laying on your transfers and captaincy. That's what it's going to take, but it's going to be absolute madness. There are opportunities here, though, amidst the chaos, and some people will take massive hits, and in some cases it will pay off, and others it won't, but yeah, it's going to be a madness. A lot of swings are going to happen here, and I'm looking forward to it. Does Chris Wood start? I think so, yeah. Well, I don't think the leaks are fake. They're very reliable. I've said that all the time. Whenever they've provided information, they usually get it spot on when it comes to Man City, and I trust them for the Salah news as well. Salah or Szoboszlai? Probably Salah. Richarlison or Bowen? Bowen for me, for sure. Keane or Van Heck? Van Heck. Yes, absolute chaos for sure. I'm looking forward to it. I'm enjoying it as well. We've only got 90 minutes left as well, so let's lock things in. Be sure to vote in the poll. Like, subscribe. Let's hit 100 likes on this stream and 39,000 subscribers overall. We are getting ever closer towards that milestone. So big up to the community. Let's get to that. And if you want to see World Cup fantasy content on the channel with videos and live streams, then make sure to do that as well. But yeah, we are close to 100 likes. Let's be sure to get to that. Thanks to those that have done so already there. Senesi, Bodro, Hill, and Van Heck. I have to start with 3, but which trio do I start? One has to be benched. I bench Van Heck there. Sign Cunha, expect 2 goals. I'll try to remember that. I'm not sure though. It's a possibility, but I don't think Salah plays the full 90. I think he'll be subbed off a bit earlier. Hearing Gabriel's benched. Well, where are you hearing it from? It's not really a surprise. I think most Arsenal players, if not all, could be benched. So it's absolute chaos right now. Let's see if I can find... So yeah, Lacroix is set to play his final match at Selhurst Park. So yeah, he's going to leave Crystal Palace. Interesting. So yeah, Marino's going to be in the Arsenal squad. That's good. Just having a look at Twitter now and seeing if there are any more leaks. Jesus, yeah, this is an absolute madness here. So yeah, if you do have a link, let me know and I can go through that. Okay, I'm going to start locking things in. Well, I did this already, Twisted Parky. I already showed you what it said, and I mentioned it many times. So Haaland doesn't start. That was the big bombshell we had earlier. Nico, Riley, and Cherky don't start either, and Salah starts. Those are the biggest bits of information. With Gabriel, I can't really confirm it. I just tried to now. But yeah, I already went through this a few times. Yeah, Gibbs White is a good shout. Difficult opponent, but still pretty decent. Cherky to my Russian captain. I like it. I think Marmoush is one of the best captaincy options now. Starting up front for City, out of position. And Cherki's benched, according to Lazy FPL. So, yeah, I'd do it. Ahmed says, Verbruggen, Darlow, Saliba, Hill, Cucurella, Bogle, O'Reilly, Salah, Trossard, Semenyo, Bruno Fernandes, Gross, Welbeck, Bowen, Calvert-Lewin. What to do? I'd consider selling Trossard here. I don't think he starts. And you could go to Gibbs White or Szoboszlai. That looks pretty decent. I don't think Saliba starts either. So, and O'Reilly's benched, by the way. So, yeah, Trossard and O'Reilly out potentially. Even for a hit, I think could be worthwhile. You can bring one of Mavropanos or Pedro Porro in. But yeah, start Van Heck is what you lot are recommending. I think that is the safest thing to do. And then I can go for Darlow in goal. So I've got both Brighton and Leeds covered. So yeah, that could definitely work. Yeah, it's just an absolute madness here. So O'Reilly on the bench. I'm probably going to put Lacroix ahead of him in the pecking order too. And let's see. I mean, there is a debate to even start Lacroix, to be fair. But yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to get clarification on Semenyo and Gabriel. Those are the two biggest risks, and also Gyökeres to a certain extent. But yeah, looking good there overall, Ahmed. Let me know what you think overall. Best goalkeeper this week. If Raya starts, then probably him, but maybe Dubravka. And that's if he starts. He hasn't been for the last couple. Thank you, Stevo. Thanks for your brilliant content this season, mate. Much appreciated. Which three? Salah, Bowen, Fleming, Foden, Marmoush, Madueke. Salah, Bowen, and Marmoush. I'd be very bullish on that. Banjo says, oh my god, Dylan. Yeah, you're losing your mind here. Locked in, -12, still time to add more. No worries, Twisted Parky. All good. It's not a guarantee. I think Eze will get minutes, but in terms of starting, I couldn't guarantee it. He's in my current predicted lineup. I think he'll be subbed off to a standing ovation and lift the Premier League title at his former club. Dylan, this is cooked. Is Marmoush an option now? Yes, he definitely is. If I don't have Haaland, what should I put my money towards? Salah? And you don't have to do that, but that's one option, which a lot of people are gravitating towards right now. Who to captain? Salah, Marmoush, or Richarlison? Probably in the order you said it. Salah first, Marmoush second, Richarlison third. And I think both the Egyptians enter the top 5 captaincy picks overall. So I like them. O'Reilly replacement. You can see them in the poll. Mavropanos. Also Pedro Porro. They'd be two of the best ones right now. An Arsenal defender like Hincapié. But there's no guarantee who starts for the Gunners today. Salah captain for the good old days. Potentially. He's in my top 5 now, but who knows if he's... Well, he is starting apparently according to Lazy FPL, but is he going to get the full 90? I'm not so sure. Yeah, Borro's fine. Mavropanos probably a better chance of a clean sheet, but I think there are more routes to points with the Spaniard. Who to captain? It's probably going to be Bowen for me still, but Salah's not too far away, to be fair. It's a toss-up between those two. Saka to Marmoush or Szoboszlai? I do like Marmoush this week, I really do. I think I'd lean towards him now. Come on, you Gunners. Dylan, we did it. On to the Champions League final. Yes, I will be there. And manifesting another trophy and an extraordinary season. But yeah, for now, enjoy today. London's absolutely crazy at the moment. And yeah, next week is going to be a madness. I'll be there in Budapest. And hopefully I can do one final deadline stream for the Champions League there. Who do I start between Mbeumo and Semenyo? Mbeumo. I think with Semenyo and most City players, you can't really tell who's going to start. With the exception of Marmoush, surely he's going to get the nod now. Dylan, should I start Gyökeres or bench him? I'd sell Haaland to Bowen. Now, both Gyökeres and Haaland could be benched and still haul off the bench, but Haaland's more likely. But there are more opportunities that open up when you sell Haaland, and one of them includes buying Mohamed Salah. So we've got 12 minutes left. Well, Haaland's going to be on the bench. According to Lazy FPL, I covered that a few times throughout the stream. So yeah, Haaland bench, Salah starts, both O'Reilly and Cherki on the bench as well. I'm doing Haaland to Richarlison and captaining Borro. Good luck. I'm not a big fan of Richarlison, but it could still work against his former club. And yeah, captaining a Spurs player is crazy, but we'll see what happens. I covered your question, Painkiller. Mavropanos and Pedro Porro. Bruno and Tavernier, any news? Well, Fernandes is going to start, surely. Tavernier, yeah, should start as well. -20, yeah, it's just getting bigger by the minute, but Yeah, I haven't made any transfers yet, but surely I'll start moving my thumbs a little bit very soon. Captain Salah, Bruno or Bowen. Fernandes is still number one for me, but I might change it. I really might. Who are the best free midfielder replacements for Saka? Fernandes, Salah, and Marmoush. And if you already have Fernandes, then you could add someone like Szoboszlai or Gibbs White into the mix. -12 to bring Salah, Fleming, and Bowen and have a starting 11. Yes, but it also depends who you're selling. I'm not sure exactly what that is. There's so many names flying around. Should I go for a -4 for Salah? Haaland to Bowen, Cherki to Salah? Yes. Bowen or Gyökeres? Bowen. Tavernier to Marmoush and O'Reilly to Mavropanos for a -4? Yes, but if you can buy Bowen up front for a hit, I'd rather do that and start a different defender over O'Reilly. Either Haaland, Cherki, and Stack to Salah, Bowen, and Jadon Anthony, or to Salah, Tati, and Foden. I'd go for the first three, Salah, Bowen, and Jadon Anthony. Okay, so I'm going to start locking in my transfers. This is an absolute carnage, which we love to see on the channel. And yeah, Gameweek 38 is always special. It's just a completely different thing. 55% of you have said keep O'Reilly and start Van Heck. The rest of you have said take a hit. And that's a bit spread at the moment, like getting Borro, Mavropanos, or Hincapié. I'm going to just start Van Heck, I think. Even Lacroix could be a starter for me. And Bob's your uncle. So I'm going to bring in Bowen and Salah. Come on, Salah. Don't let me down. I mean, it's his last game for Liverpool. He did score against Brentford in his last game. I'm just going to have a quick look at his record against Brentford in general. I think it's fairly decent overall. Nothing spectacular. And I'll also have a look at, yeah, any potential leaks. And we've already had quite a few. So Salah, yeah, pretty good record to be fair. Very good record. 8 games, 7 goals, 1 assist. Don't let me down, man. And he's returned in every home game. Yeah, I think I'm just going to do it. Salah and Bowen in. If we get news of Semenyo benched, I might even take a hit. And to be fair, though, I'm going to have a benching dilemma here. Yeah, there's going to be a benching dilemma. So I could just start Tavernier, to be honest with you. So yeah, Bowen and Salah in. Let's not beat around the bush any longer. But there's always another leak. That's the only thing I'm looking out for. Otherwise, I'm quite settled with these moves here. I think Doku will start, but it's not guaranteed. We are all in the leaky boat. Cherki is a fraud. He's been benched a lot recently. It's kind of crazy. Thank you, Freddie Barker, and all the best to you as well. Cherki or Rodgers out for Marmoush? Well, with Cherki, you almost know he's going to be benched. There's still a chance Rodgers starts. I'd probably sell Cherki, but I don't think Rodgers starts either. Joao Pedro is in contention to start, but he's still yellow flagged. He's doubtful, so we'll wait and see what happens. I couldn't really tell you either way. Senesi, Hill, Van Heck, pick 2. I'd probably bench Van Heck there. Hi Dylan, which transfers would you make? Haaland, Mark Guiu, and Saka to Bowen, Richarlison, and Szoboszlai, or Haaland, Cherki, and Saka to Bowen, Marmoush, Szoboszlai? Yeah, it's going to be Bowen, Marmoush, and Szoboszlai for me. Start Haaland, Schade, or hit for Haaland out. Also got O'Reilly who can be transferred. I'd rather just start a different defender over O'Reilly and take a hit up front. So do something like Haaland to Bowen and then bring Salah in the midfield or whichever midfield you want. I've covered plenty of them throughout the stream, so that would be my advice and what I'm probably going to go for as well. Yes, we typically get goal fest in Gameweek 38, and hopefully it's the same here. Cherki and Saka to Marmoush and Szoboszlai -8. Yes, I think that looks pretty good actually. I don't know if Gyökeres starts, to be honest. He's in my predicted lineup, but there's also a chance that Gabriel Jesus starts in his final game for Arsenal. At least final Premier League game. Marmoush has 6 GA and 8. Yeah, that's true. He's very tempting for me. That's why if I see something like Semenyo benched, I'd be tempted to go to Marmoush here. But yeah, just going to have one final look on Twitter because I think this is going to go absolutely mental here. Oh yeah. Yeah, got a few benchings of my family members' team. I've got to sort things out for that. So let's see. Up front, Welbeck, Fleming, Richarlison. No, they don't want Richarlison. tough decisions. Let's go Fleming then. Something a little bit different. This is absolute madness happening right now. O'Reilly could be benched as well. Well, it looks like he is. O'Reilly. Senesi's not bad this week. Let's go for it. Let's have some fun. Hits galore. Oh, I think the FPL website is acting a bit dodgy right now. Yeah, try to lock in your moves now. I know obviously we want all the information we can, but yeah, this is not looking good at the moment. I just got logged out from my members team, my family members team, so... Oh, the transfers went through. That's really weird. Yeah, I'm locking things in before something dodgy happens here. So anything else? Just want to have as much information as I can, but I think that's it. And we've already got plenty. A lot of bombshells there. Okay. Yep. At least Sarr to Salah and Haaland to Bowen. Done. Let's be sure to bring them into the starting 11. So Salah in for Tavernier. I've got O'Reilly last on my bench. I've got Tavernier first, Lacroix second. I'm tempted to even captain Salah. And I do like Bowen as well. So let's end this poll. Be sure to like if you haven't done so already. We're very close to 100 likes overall. And we are getting very close to 39,000. Let's get to that subscriber goal today. We are just a couple away from that milestone. Big up to the community and everyone who has supported the channel. And yeah, let's put this poll in the building. So captaincy is up next. So let's put Salah, Bowen, Bruno Fernandes, and I think that's it. Those are the three main captaincy contenders, for me anyway. So make sure to vote in the poll. I think Strauch will start, but it's not a guarantee. There's a chance that Bruno gets the nod like he did last time out, which I predicted, but yeah, he's in contention. Glitchy o'clock. Yeah, for a second I thought you meant the clock was glitched, but I wasn't even on it. We've got 2 minutes left. Wow, time bloody flies. Yes, 2 minutes indeed. It was all covered in my best team video, but now there have been probably a few changes. So in goal, I mean, flip a coin and just go forever. Maybe Dubravka in goal. Defensively, Hincapié, Senesi, and probably a City defender like Stones. I mean, I think he'll start. Midfield, Salah, Fernandes, Marmoush. Oh, I wish I had a free hit this week. I don't mind Gross, but I'd probably say Gibbs-White. Bowen up front, for sure. Yeah, the rest is a bit difficult, but I'd probably go to a midfield 5. So that's where you can go for Szoboszlai 2 or Bruno Guimaraes. I think the other forward alongside Bowen might be Fleming, actually. So that would be my sort of best team for Gameweek 38, which isn't what you'd probably expect. Yeah, already logged in, Dylan. Good luck for the last time this season. Likewise, all the best. Best captain. I mean, Bruno Fernandes has been outstanding all season. Very reliable. I'm probably going to go for him in the end, but yeah, there are definitely opportunities. Bowen or Salah captain? I mean, I've had Bowen above him in the pecking order all week. I've got a good feeling about Salah. I really do. I'm going to say Salah. So my sort of final captaincy ranking is probably Fernandes first, Salah second, Bowen third, Marmoush fourth. That's pretty much all that matters, really. That's the top 4. With Haaland sort of making way as well. I'd probably put like Gibbs-White in 5th. Yeah, maybe Szoboszlai. I mean, it's kind of a mad one. Pass me the headache pills. I've had a few over the last couple of days. It's been emotional. Yes, it has. And we still have time left. We still have time. Well, a few of them might not start, Karam, but I'd go for Van Heck and Gabriel. Start Strauch over Saliba. I mean, I'd probably start Saliba just in case, but we might see like 45 minutes for both him and Gabriel anyway, so it's going to be a madness, to be fair. Gameweek 38 Magic, let's go. -8 for now. I'm only on a -4, which is surprising, but yeah, it's all over the gaff. I mean, is Gyökeres going to start? Semenyo, Gabriel, I think all three of them could be benched. The rest should start, but it's not looking good for me. Doku or Gross? Doku. But Gross, great record against United, 7 goals in 12 games. We're just seconds away now. I bought in Dauman, all the best. There's a chance he starts. I don't think he will, though. You saw my predicted lineups earlier. Last chance soon for sure. Captain Potter or Richarlison? If I had to pick, Richarlison would be the one. 4 minutes. Well, now it's seconds. It's done. Then Champions League and World Cup. Yes, all the focus now is on the Champions League, and we are locked in for the final time this season. And my final squad is Darlow, Hill, Van Heck, Gabriel, Gross, Salah as my vice-captain, Semenyo, Bruno Fernandes, who takes the armband, Gyökeres, Bowen, and Calvert-Lewin, Verbruggen, Tavernier, Lacroix, and O'Reilly on my bench. So, yeah, with the news of Cherki, O'Reilly, Haaland benched, and Salah starting, I've gone for something a little bit different, if you will. But, yeah, I was very tempted to captain Salah, and we'll see what happens there. It crashed. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised whatsoever. It's over. Yes. FPL is done. It's unbelievable. I mean, time literally flies. I remember making the graphics and preparing in pre-season, on holiday as well, making countless videos, recording over 10. I think I did recorded 14 videos in 14 days when I was on my holiday. We'll see if I can do that this time round, but yeah, it's going to be a madness. And if you want to see the World Cup covered, subscribe to the channel, like this stream. Let's get it to over 100 likes and end this season as strongly as possible, not just on the pitch or FPL-wise, but also when it comes to the YouTube channel and hitting a new milestone in the process. And we'll definitely reach it by next week for the Champions League if we haven't done so already. But big up to everyone for supporting to 39,000 subscribers very soon. And after that, it's all about 40k. Salah for one last time. Yeah, exactly that. The opportunity has sort of opened itself up with the Haaland benching. Now just watch Haaland get like a brace or hat-trick off the bench, but it is what it is. Another handball to give United the win today. Well, if Bruno Fernandes gets a goal from it and he's my captain, then I guess I don't care. But yeah, it's completely bizarre, that decision. But you're going to see a rightfully disallowed goal for West Ham against Arsenal. That gets way more press than the handball by Mbeumo. But it is what it is. Who gives a crap? Starting double Brighton defence, but captaining Bruno. FPO is weird. Yeah, I'm starting Van Heck and I've got Bruno captain. It's a mad game. Igor, Thiago, Bowen and Haaland are my free attackers. Should I change anyone? Well, possibly Haaland, but the thing is, there aren't many forwards to go to. Bowen's the standout, but will Gyökeres start? Maybe it's going to be Gabriel Jesus. Marmoush is a midfielder in the game, so there aren't many options, really. Fleming, I definitely wouldn't take a hit for that, though. Yeah, Josh, obviously the deadline's gone now, but my team is Rose, Mukiele, Gabriel, Saliba, Dewsbury Hall, Salah, Anthony, Fernandes, Marmoush, Bowen, captain, Fleming, good luck. Good luck to you as well. Yeah, the double Arsenal defence looks a bit crazy, and even the Sunderland one, but as long as they get starts, I mean, that's what you're looking for, really. Start Tavernier or Joao Pedro. Joao Pedro still, but only just. So yeah, the game's updating. It's all locked, as MMK says. Good luck as well. I've successfully finished the season without taking a hit. Wow, you're a better man than me when it comes to FPL, because I've taken plenty of hits this season. Not that many. I used to be a madman taking like -20s and stuff like that when I played purely for fun before making content, but yeah, I took a -4 and it could have been more. Wanted to switch back to Raya over Dubravka, but oh well, good luck to everyone. Yeah, I think Dubravka might be the best goalkeeper this week, but to be honest with you, there's a world where both of them don't start, and I hope for your case that's not going to happen. I think Joao Pedro will start and perform very well and show Carlo Ancelotti he'll regret not picking him. To be fair, though, it's just a meaningless game against Sunderland, and I don't think he'll care too much. But yeah, it was quite a surprise to see him not picked for Brazil, but I agree that Joao Pedro will start here. What? It really got locked that early? That's crazy. I mean, that's similar to the World Cup or Club World Cup fantasy last year. If you know, you know. Bowen, captain, Salah vice. Good luck. Last time this season. Yeah, so all week I've had Bowen in the top 3, and he has stayed there, but Salah's basically leapfrogged to the top two in my Camsey list. And yeah, for Man City, who will start over O'Reilly, probably Gvardiol, Stones as well, centre back. To be fair, Ait Nuri could start as well. I think it'll be Ait Nuri left back then. Let's see if I can quickly change the lineups a little bit. So give me a second. And then I can show you my predicted lineups one last time. But yeah, after this, I'm going to have to cut because, yeah, I'm going to watch the game. Cool. So I'm just going to update this. The end of FPL chapters 25-26 officially over. Well, when it comes to FPL, yeah, in terms of the deadline, of course, all done and dusted. There's nothing more we can do. It's out of our control, but we'll see what happens. And then after today, we can react to the end of the season. But yeah, it's an absolute madness for sure. And a big up to everyone who has tuned in for the 38 deadline streams I've done this season. Over 200 pieces of FPL content as well. For UCL Fantasy as well, almost 100. I covered the Club World Cup as well. It's been relentless. I might even cover the World Cup as well, depending on your support and if you want to see it, because a lot of you, it seems like you do want to see that on the channel. So Fernandes was the most popular captain. Wow. Bowen in second with 30% and Salah third with 28. So very close there. Thanks to those that like the stream as well. Big up. It does cost nothing, by the way. So yeah, for those that are being stingy, well, I prefer not to comment, but thank you very much. And let me change the City lineup a little bit and see if I can get a few extra points with my scores here. Let's put Ait Nuri. And Foden. I think Foden will start. Cool, so just updating this. I mean, the lineups are going to all be out in like 8 minutes, but to be honest, to cover every single one of them, I'm probably never going to finish. So no guarantees of that one, to be fair, but let me know in the live chat if you want to see that. Then subscribe and like, and yeah, let's make it worthwhile. But yeah, this is going to be absolutely hectic, that's for sure. Okay, well, at least I'm going to change that. So just so I can show you, and I've got receipts. So I'll skim through the rest, of course, because I did go for them earlier, but in terms of predicted lineups, who even knows of Arsenal at this point, but yeah, I think one of Gyökeres or Gabriel Jesus will start up front. We could see Norgard. I think he will start, but it's either midfield or central defence. And yeah, Madueke Martinelli should also get the nod. Eze is not a guarantee. We could see Dalman there. Lewis Skelly either at left back or midfield for me. But yeah, Gabriel, if he does start, it's going to be 45 minutes or something. Then Saliba comes in for the other one. Kepa could also start over David Raya. With Aston Villa, I think it's going to be wholesale changes. That's basically the bottom line when it comes to the Europa League champions. And for Bournemouth, I think it's pretty much the same starting 11 as the last couple of matches. And I've done quite well with their predictions. The same goes for Brentford. And I think Adjo over Vandenberg is possible. The same goes for Damsgaard on the left. And then maybe one of Yana or Henderson in the midfield. But I think with the rest, I'm quite confident with that. And with Brighton, yeah, I think Welbeck, Gomez, Mint as the front three. And I think Kadioglu, De Kuiper as the fullbacks. The rest, pretty much what you would expect. And with Burnley, they've got a few interesting punts here, but the biggest debate is actually who starts in goal. I think Dubravka will start between the sticks in his final game for Burnley. With Chelsea, well, yeah, Joao Pedro yellow flagged. I think he'll start. Crystal Palace, they'll rotate ahead of the Conference League final. And with Everton, same starting 11 as the last couple of matches. With Fulham, Raul Jimenez and Wilson could play the final games for the club. And Leeds United could have 2 yellow flag players in the starting 11 there, but that's not guaranteed. And I think Alisson will start with Salah and Robertson bidding farewell to Liverpool. And with Man City, these are the changes. Oh, he hasn't even shown it. What the fuck? He hasn't even done it. Oh, that's literally the point of this, you twat. That's so annoying. But yeah, I was supposed to show you Foden as the cam. Don't know why it hasn't done it. Let's do that again one more time. That's very annoying. Okay, no, that's not what I wanted. Who even knows? This is literally a Gameweek 38 deadline stream, and it's all happening at this point. So, take 2. Is it going to pop up now? Yes. I don't know why it didn't last time, but Aït-Nouri left back, Foden as the attacking midfield. So we got the news, obviously, of Aït-Nouri, of O'Reilly and Cherki on the bench. So I've reflected that with this update 11, and there could be further changes. With Manchester United as well, we could see a few surprises in that lineup. The same goes for Newcastle, Trippier's final game for the club. And Nottingham Forest, I think they'll go for this starting 11. Sunderland as well. Pretty much what you would expect. And Tottenham Hotspur, yeah, all of that was covered earlier. But these are my final predictions for the season. With West Ham, I've bought in Jarrod Bowen. I don't think I've had him, with the exception of Gameweek 38 on the free hit, where he got me 10 points. So more of that would be absolutely amazing. And Wolves, I've gone for that starting 11 for them as well. But let's go for a few last questions and comments before wrapping up. Big up to the community as well. And there are still a lot of people watching. So yeah, apparently Saka, Gyökeres, Gabriel, Raya, Saliba, Rice not playing. Oh, that's fantastic. No Marmoush. What? Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. In terms of my lineup, yes, I put Haaland in there. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, I don't know what I was doing there. That's literally the biggest thing for Man City. Let me just show that again then, just the Man City part, and then we can move on. Thanks for reminding me, just so I can actually prove. Even though it technically isn't me predicting it, it's basically these dumb lineup leaks, if you will. I don't know why I'm calling it dumb. They're literally helping me out, I guess. So yeah, Marmoush in. Let's do that. But we're literally going to get the official lineups in just a few minutes' time. So yeah, the carnage that ensues will be very fun indeed. Very, very fun. Cool. Well, maybe I'm going to stick around then, because yeah, all the pubs and stuff are basically not allowing new people in. So yeah, it is what it is. That's life for you. These are the sacrifices I make, if you will. You know, doing this deadline stream with you for the last couple of hours, but it's a lot of fun, and it literally flew by, honestly. And I very much appreciate all your support throughout the season, and for the last 6 years that I've been making content. So yeah, we'll be reaching a new milestone very soon over the next couple of days, and the World Cup could be covered on this channel as well. But yeah, just to prove to you that I've replicated all these different lineup leaks. Marmoush up front over Haaland, Aït-Nouri and Foden, just to be very clear. Who even knows at this point? Will it be Trafford in goal? Will so many be benched? Who knows? But yeah, it's not looking good for Arsenal when it comes to our assets. But Premier League champions for the Gunners, so that's all that matters now. So back to the FPL team here. And yeah, very shortly we could go through the official lineups. Yeah, Arsenal B squad. Yes. And yeah, I should go to FPL Challenge. I'll go for that after the lineups, though. It's no real need to go for it yet, because I don't know who's starting or not. How Martinelli get the call-up? Well, he does quite well for Brazil. And in the Premier League, he scored a very important goal against City. And in the Cups, he's done a great job. But yeah, who knows? You can ask Ancelotti for that. Thanks for all the help, Dylan. Likewise, much appreciated. My app was just crashing. Lucky I did my transfer. Yeah, it logged my family member's team out when I tried to do the transfer. Well, probably not. I think Kepa will start. Best goalkeeper is probably Dubravka, who's not a guaranteed starter either. FPL for this season is done and dusted. Yes, it's all done. Good luck, everyone. See you next season. Take care and God bless. Likewise, good to see you, Drigger. Thanks for all the content, Dylan. Enjoy the break and see you back for the World Cup and UCL final. Yes, and hopefully I can do a deadline stream because, like I said, I'm in Budapest for the Champions League final next week between Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain. So hopefully I can do a stream either the night before or a few hours earlier. But the best team and the team selection will be posted over the next couple of days before I fly out. One last time, Salah captain. Let's see how it goes. I think World Cup Fantasy will be launched in the 1st of June. I think, well, with the Club World Cup, it was released in late May. So we'll wait and see. 2026 Pundit of the Year, Dylan. Get him to 40k. Much appreciated. We will get to that soon. But 39k is just within reach. And after that, we can fully focus on a massive objective there. 40,000, which will be achieved over the next few months. Which changes could FPL make for next season? I'm always asked this when we're approaching the end of the campaign. I mean, I like defensive contributions. I wouldn't introduce something like AFCON transfers again. So even for the Asian Cup, I wouldn't have that. I think maybe points for like chances created or stuff like that. We saw that in the Club World Cup last summer. We could see it again in the World Cup now. Yeah, I'd like to see something like that. More points for defensive contributions and stuff, ball recoveries, if you will. Maybe changing the parameters a little bit so it's the same for every single position, defenders, midfielders, and forwards. But yeah, those are a few changes that they could make. Possibly another chip. I'm not sure about having a bench boost free hit and triple captain for each half of the season. I mean, it's not too bad, I guess. They'll probably keep that. But I'd say maybe another chip to spice things up a little bit. Good luck here, Maina. Arsenal leaks dropped. Yeah, not surprised. So I'm going to have Lacroix come on for Gabriel. It's not meaningless, is it? Chelsea could still miss out on Europe. Yeah, I guess so. But I saw Chelsea fans say the same thing, and I don't think they give a crap. Firstly, congrats on Arsenal winning the league. Videos have been extremely helpful. All the best for the Champions League final. I think you should cover the World Cup if possible. I am a huge Argentina fan. Much appreciated, and yeah, I absolutely love Argentina. And yeah, I'm hoping for the very best with that tournament too. But you have Arsenal, incredible scenes. London is buzzing right now. Well, the red part is anyway, and it covers most of London. But the Champions League final will be great. I'm looking forward to it, and I'll be spending the entire weekend in Budapest, and hopefully Arsenal can get the job done and cap off a great season. Majority of FPL managers went for Salah. Hope Salah won't let you guys down. Surely not. Last game, at home. Yeah, it would be great if he gets something. Imagine Haaland, Cherki, O'Reilly will start. I'll be logging off FPL until next summer then. Or until next season. Gabriel and Gyökeres benched. No surprises there. It's not looking great. And just like that, I took a -4. Yeah, I kind of wish I started Tavernier over Gyökeres. Hopefully Gyökeres doesn't get a cameo off the bench, but I think he will. And if he does, I'm hoping he gets a goal there. No Marmoush. Is that the predicted lineup again? Or what? Haaland to start? Well, the lineups are out. So we'll see. Yeah, I think FPL has always had issues with the servers, to be fair. It's been better this season, but Gameweek 38 is a different beast. Mina says, just wanted to say thank you for all the great videos, live streams, and answers throughout the year. Your content has been brilliant, and I genuinely think everyone should subscribe. Thanks for everything. Very kind words, and yeah, thanks for always taking part of the streams and with the kind contributions, and all the best for Gameweek 38. It's all done and dusted. I think Salah will get a goal. But yeah, 7+ points, something like that. What did someone say? Just no Marmoush and Haaland, O'Reilly, Cherki are going to play? No, basically Haaland, O'Reilly and Cherki are not starting. Marmoush should start now. I'm going to go for the lineups now. Went for 8 Nuri, thank God, stuck with Semenyo. Oh. Well, we'll see. Do I even dare go for all the lineups now? I might not show them on screen. I might just read them out to you. I think that would just be simpler. Otherwise, it's going to take a long time going through 10 different games. So for Brighton, Verbruggen, Kadioglu, Van Heck, Duncan, Vifa. So that's different. Milner, Gross, Gomez, Hinshaw, De Kuyper, and Welbeck. For Manchester United, Lamens, Shaw, Martinez, Maguire, Mazraoui, Mainu, Mount, Dorgu, Fernandes, Diallo, and Mbeumo. For Burnley, So Dubravka doesn't start. It's Vice. Walker, Twansebi, Humphreys and Pires, Ogochukwu, Luis, Chuana, Miebri, Anthony and Fleming. For Wolves, it's Jose Sarr, Wolf, Crechi, Santiago Bueno, Mosquera, Andre, Joao Gomez. Sorry, no, Angel Gomez. So no Joao Gomez. Hwang Hee-chan, Mane, Rodrigo Gomez and Armstrong. So for Crystal Palace, Henderson, Klein, Lerma and Chadi Riyad. Oh my God. Damn, so Gabriel. Oh, this is looking terrible. I've got 3 defenders benched here, which includes O'Reilly. That is horrific. Yeah, so for Crystal Palace as well, they've got Cardine starting, Kamada, Hughes, Munoz, Sarr, Devaney and Larson. So yeah, very difficult to predict Crystal Palace. For Arsenal, Kepa Arrizabalaga, Calafiori, Hincapié, Norgard and Mosquera, Lewis Skelly, Zubimendi, Dauman, Madueke Jesus and Martinelli. So yeah, just forget about this week. It's absolutely done. With Fulham, Leno, Castagna, Diop, Bassi, Robinson, Sandenberg, Iwobi, Kevin, Smith-Rowe, Muniz and Oscar Bob. So Jimenez and Wilson on the bench in their final game for the club, it looks like. For the away side, Pope, Byrne, Botman, Chow and Hall, Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, Ramsey, Voltemada, Murphy and Osula. And for Liverpool, Allison, Jones, Kanate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Gravenberch, McAllister, Salah, Szoboszlai, Rio Ingamoa and Gakpo. So Wirtz doesn't start. For Brentford, Kelleher, Lewis Potter, Collins, Vandenberg, Coyote, Janel, Schade, Jensen, Henderson, Dango Ouattara and Igor Thiago. So for Man City, Trafford, Rico Lewis, Stones, Ruben Dias, Ake, Nico Gonzalez, Bernardo Silva. Okay, Semenyo starts. I'm happy with that. Savio, Reinders, Foden. So yeah, no Marmoush. I was quite bullish on him this week. So yeah, forget about that. I'm happy Semenyo starts though. That's yeah, this is an incredible week. I mean, so many twists and turns. For Aston Villa, Marco Bizot, Matson, Lindelof, Mings, Garcia, Bogard, Barkley, Buendia, Douglas Luiz, Bailey, and Watkins. Okay, so Rodgers is on the bench and Watkins starts. Who would have thought? For Nottingham Forest, Sells, Williams, Milenkovic, Jer Cunha, Morato, Hutchinson, Anderson, Sangari, Gibbs-White, Igor Jesus, and Chris Wood. And for Bournemouth, it's what you would expect here. Petrovic, Troffer, Senesi, Hill, Smith, Adams, Scott, Tavernier, Krupi, Rayan, Ivanilson. And then for Sunderland, Roves, Gertruida, O'Neill, Mukiele, Mandava, Xhaka, Siddiqui, Hume, Lefay, Angulo, Robbie. At least I got 11 right for them. And for Chelsea, Sanchez, Hato, Colwill, Fofana, Gusto, Cucurella, Caicedo, Neto, Enzo Fernandez, Palmer, and Joao Pedro. For Tottenham, Kinski, Jed Spence, Danso, Van der Ven, the Doggy, Joao Paulinho, Bentancur. Pedro Porro is playing further forward with Gallagher, Tell, and Richarlison. So Kolomwani on the bench. And for Everton, Pickford, Mikalenko, Keane, Tarkovsky, O'Brien, Garner, Eric Bonham, Indai, Dewsbury Hall, Roll, and Tiano Barry. And the last one, West Ham, Hermanson, Walker-Peters, Mavropanos, Disasi, Diouf, Bowen, Soucek, Matheus Fernandes, Somerville, Castellanos, and Felipe. For Leeds United, Darlow, Strauch, Biol, Rodon, Justin, Tanaka, Ampadu, Aronson, Strauch, Calvert-Lewin, and Nemecha. At least I got Leeds spot on. So, yeah, and probably West Ham as well. So, yeah, absolutely crazy scenes. All lineups covered. Yeah, I mean, Arsenal have nothing to play for. Premier League champions, but it's absolutely insane. I'm not too surprised about Rodgers being benched, but yeah, -20 looks good now. Your nightmare already begins before the match starts. Well, defensively, that's the main concern for me. But Semenyo starts. Wait, what the fuck? What the blood clot? Why the hell is it giving me that? Yeah, that's so weird. Anyway, so at least Darlow, Hill, Van Heck, Start, Gross, Salah, Semenyo, Bruno Fernandes, Bowen, Calvert-Lewin. It's just the Arsenal players, Gabriel, Gyökeres. So Tavernier could come on, if not Gyökeres, cameo off the bench, hoping for a goal there. But yeah, defensively, it's kind of looking bad. Down to a point or 10 men after taking a -4 hit, but it is what it is. I don't think any defender's really worth a hit anyway. Yeah, Joao Pedro starts. Not surprised. I mean, he was in my predicted lineup. Who's on the Arsenal bench? Doesn't matter. I don't think it really matters, but yeah, Arsenal have Setford, Gabriel, Eze, Odegaard, Rice, Marino, Saka, Gyökeres, Havertz. Good to see Marino there. So yeah, there you go. Raya's not there at all. And someone mentioned having Ryan Dubravka earlier. Bought Marmoush and captain him, and now he's benched. Yeah, terrible luck. I thought Marmoush would have started up front, but not even there. Have fun, everyone. Catch you next season. Yes. All the best to you, Banjo, and everyone else. Johnny says, sounds like a plan. Yes, Semenyo's a striker. I'm happy with that. Norgard in defence. One of my correct predictions for Arsenal. The rest, not so much. I'm about to end it because I haven't had lunch and I'm going to meet some friends and I'm not even allowed in to where they are, so I'm going to have to meet them after probably. B team getting a Guard of Honour's peak. Who cares? It's a Guard of Honour. It's a Premier League trophy. Well, I think most of them were pretty accurate. It's just Arsenal that was kind of off the boil, but I mean, it's just Gabriel and Gyökeres. I think the rest wasn't too bad. Cheers, Dylan. Give the man a like. Watch you from Serbia for a long time. Best of luck, mate. Thank you very much, Grady. Always kind words from you and positive energy and vibes. Thank you for your support. So, yeah, we're going to have to wait until next week to hit 39,000, which is a bit disappointing, but hopefully we can get to 39k next week ahead of the Champions League final and then go into the the World Cup as strongly as possible. Bloody hell, says a lot that Martinelli is in the B team. I mean, Arsenal have good squad depth, but yeah, he's done a good job in the Cups at least. Good luck as well, Wei saying, hopefully I see you in the World Cup. If the feedback is there, the subscriptions and the likes, then I will be making World Cup fantasy content, and this fun never stops. No breaks, of course. Banjo's very surprised here. I hope Xabi Alonso gets the job for Chelsea. He's already confirmed, basically. Yeah, it's done. Yeah, site crashed. Yeah. Arsenal getting all week off. Yeah, it's all about the Champions League final, though. Take no risks. I get it. I'm surprised about Calafiori, though. He's injury prone. I really hope everyone can go through unscathed. Hey, bro, seeing no DCL. Oh, yeah. Wait, what? Brilliant. I mean, I read through the lineups and I probably didn't notice. Yeah, it's Aronson. Well, no, Calvert-Lewin is playing. Yeah, Calvert-Lewin is playing. It's just the Arsenal players that are not starting for me. And O'Reilly and Lacroix. Disappointing season. Gameweek 37 finished me. Yeah, same here. And even 36, although I got a small green arrow, it was quite underwhelming. And Gameweek 34, I think, set the tone for the rest of the season. I think I'm playing for Arsenal, says Banjo. Haven't been about for a bit, but thanks for all the streams. No worries, FPL Kevy, and thanks for tuning in. Yeah, surprising about Marmoush, but at least Semenyo starts. I'm happy with that. Seems Savio, Foden, and Semenyo. Yeah. Thanks for your help this season, mate. Thank you, Keith. Enjoy the final, bro. I will, especially if Arsenal win. Martinelli is a winger, and Pedro, unfortunately, is not. Well, yeah, exactly that. But I think Joao Pedro still could play multiple positions. I've said this for weeks. I think West Ham will get relegated, and Spurs need to lose, and West Ham need to win. My prediction is for Spurs to draw and for West Ham to win, so that wouldn't be enough. Cheers, Johnny. Oh, yeah, but you said, who do you want to be relegated? I mean, what kind of question is that? I support Arsenal, so that says it all. I don't really hate West Ham like they hate us, but it is what it is. Probably not. I'm going to be out today with friends and then family, but hopefully I can do a reaction stream tomorrow or something if people want to see it, and maybe that's the way we can hit 39,000 subscribers, but yeah, no watch along, no. Obviously, I went through all the lineups just now. Is Sally your captain? No, he's my vice, so you can see it on screen. Cheers, Safir. Better servers. Yeah, that's a good one for a better game. Yeah, definitely. We want a better game. But how do we get a better game? Yeah, I think the suggestions I said earlier are sound. Champions League live stream. Well, I'm in Hungary, and I won't be able to live stream at the usual time. I'll be at the game. So hopefully a stream the night before or a few hours before, but I can't really guarantee it. Made FPL predictors, replace FPL draft. Okay, so before I log off, I'm going to answer a few last questions as well. Let's get rid of Raya, and I'm going to go for Vice as my goalkeeper. Why not? Or should I go for Kepa? Kepa. Yeah, let's go for Kepa. Why not? Arita Balaga. My favorite goalkeeper. And I can get rid of Haaland. Let's captain Salah here. And up front, that's where I can go for Fleming. Okay. I guess that could work. Gabriel Jesus could be a good one, by the way. I'm quite interested in Gabriel Jesus. Yeah, let's go for that for now. So basically what it comes down to for me is the final captain, and I've currently got Salah in FPL Challenge, and it's Kepa and Fleming or Vice and Gabriel Jesus. I've got Borro, Fernandes and Bowen almost locked in with Salah, so we'll see what happens. Yep, my FPL Challenge team is on screen now. It's about time. Enjoy your Sunday as well, Sofair. Well, I've been drinking quite a bit this weekend, and today, yeah, well, we'll wait and see. I'm not going to speak too soon. Thanks for the great content, Dylan. Much appreciated, Johnny. Maybe we get 30 minutes of Saka. Or Gyökeres, hopefully. Yeah, Borro starts. He's playing as a right winger. So he's playing a bit further forward. Imagine Gabriel and Gyökeres sub in the last minute and get 1 point. Yeah, it's possible. But 1 point's better than 0, mate. So, obviously with Gyökeres, I've got Tavernier on the bench, but defensively I need 1 point at least. Surely one of O'Reilly, Lacroix or Gabriel get a minute. 100 points today. I wish. If I got 100 points this week, I would be, well, seeing stars. Chelsea will be coming here for pre-season match against 11 times in a row Malaysian League champions. Well, don't be surprised if Chelsea lose. Who also are 108 games unbeaten in the league. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, the other teams need to step up. They need to sort this game out. Why can't we do transfers until kickoff? And we need SBS. Players not playing or very little points. Well, I prefer UCL Fantasy for that reason and the World Cup, but yeah, it's also part of the charm, I guess, of FPL. Oh, I got this player in and he's benched, and yeah. When it goes for you, you're happy, but when it goes against you, you start questioning everything. I need 20 before I get 1. Well, I'm just hoping. I'm really hoping that our hits pay off, but yeah, minus 20 is insane, and there are plenty of them flying around today. But big up, everyone. We've done it, covering every single lineup. The season is over, but, well, we have 10 games taking place in just under an hour's time, and I'll be, well, rushing over to watch the matches and, yeah, just enjoying everything. But big up to the community. Thank you very much for the love you've shown all season, and it might not stop there. Like I said, 2 videos for UCL Fantasy, the Champions League final, the best squad for match day 17, and my team selection with 5 free transfers at my disposal, and I'll be highlighting massive differentials and the best way to approach the final between Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain. And if you want to see the World Cup covered like I did in Qatar a few years ago, or even the Club World Cup last summer, then let me know in the live chat. Like, subscribe, hype, and all that good stuff, which goes into this, the final part of this stream. Also click the hype button on YouTube, and there are many links in the description. That includes my Twitter, Instagram and Blue Sky, Dylan RCM. There's also my Discord server, the FPL and FPL Challenge Leagues, and go to Spotify and leave a 5-star review. You can listen to my content or even watch it on that platform, and thank you to those that have showed me support across every single one. And I'd highly recommend joining my Discord server and go to patreon.com/FPL Dylan, or click the join button on YouTube. Throw likes to my videos, proud to comments, amongst many other perks. There are many ways to support the channel, and a big up to this great community here. Why on earth did I pick Reece James? Yeah, Reece James is a bit of an odd pick in general. I mean, he's got a high ceiling. I thought he'd start today either in midfield or right back. You're a bit unlucky there, to be fair. But when I say odd pick, he is brilliant when he actually plays, for the most part, but the minutes are just all over the place. Yeah, same here. I want Salah to turn up anyway. The rest, I couldn't be really bothered. Hopefully Brentford score a goal or 2. Well, Arsenal picks for UCL look good. Yeah, but so do Paris Saint-Germain. It's going to be a tough one. This team just broke the world record for league unbeaten matches. Yeah, I mean, fair play to them, but like I said, I think the other teams need to step up. Big up as well, El Padrino. Always good to see you. World Cup Fantasy, yeah. I'd love to cover it, and I always enjoy playing it. 42-point lead, only have 9 players available. You've got a 42-point lead, mate. Don't stress. Whatever happens, happens, but yeah, something would have to go monumentally wrong to lose that lead. Thank you, Dylan. Hope to see your content in the World Cup. Much appreciated, Gustavo. It'd be amazing to cover it and to speak to you and everyone else with the live streams and videos. Ready for next week's stream and World Cup Fantasy, as long as the site doesn't crash. So just to be very clear, I said this before, the UCL Fantasy Deadline stream is not a guarantee. It's looking unlikely at the moment, but if I can make it possible, I will either stream the night before or a few hours earlier. But the 2 videos will definitely be out for match day 17. We'll hit 39,000 subscribers by that stage, and then hopefully 40k throughout the summer. But yeah, hopefully World Cup Fantasy content and the UCL Fantasy Deadline stream, that would be amazing, but no guarantees on that front. This team is 3 times wealthier than any other team in Malaysia. Yeah, well, we've had similar stories with Man City and Chelsea over the years, and even Paris Saint-Germain in France, but it is what it is. 35-point lead in UCL Fantasy. Hope I can hold it. Yeah, and by watching my content and hopefully by tuning into a potential deadline stream, you will do so and you'll make the best picks possible. It is hard to be different when you've only got 2 teams to choose from, 8 players from one club, 7 from the other, starting 11, no subs, 1 captain, but we will nail that down as well as possible. We need you for World Cup Fantasy. Well, it'd be great to cover it. Thank you, Johnny. Will you be doing a World Cup deadline streams? If I cover the World Cup, then yes, I will be doing World Cup Fantasy deadline streams, but it all depends on your support and if we hit 39,000 subscribers and just the reception in general. If people want to see it, I'll be making the graphics, preparing stuff in a couple of weeks' time. But with FPL now done, the full focus now shifts towards UCL Fantasy before I even get to the World Cup. And hopefully, like I said, I can do that one final deadline stream for the Champions League ahead of match day 17. Live from Budapest, which would be fun. So thanks, everyone. I wish you all the best luck for Gameweek 38, and I would say the rest of the season, but this is it. It's one last chance to nail down the captaincy, the transfers, the bench order, and all that good stuff. But join me for the Champions League content there, the best squad in my team selection, and also for that potential deadline stream, and maybe World Cup Fantasy content over the summer. So enjoy the football, and have a great summer in general. Maybe in other parts of the world, it's going to be winter, whatever it is. Just enjoy the football, and I'll see you very soon.